Again, restoring now again. So like I was saying, so she could do this right thing if you're in the moral alignment, because you're not in crossing me wrongly, morally, then you were helpful. And by helpful means the moral obligation is also then I trusted you to complete with the thing, and she completed with the thing, made the calls or whatever, then you're outpouring and flowing the moral calibration that you owe to man and God in society. You owe it to man across, and you owe it to God by principle. That's how you serve him, to make him happy. Wow, why is it all the same? Wow, because it is. Because that's the point. It's the test of life. How will you win as a beacon of consciousness? By figuring out what the game really was all along. How to love people, how to serve people, not yourself. Amen, wake up. Amen, Ra, or whatever. Get it? So in that timeline, my mom 3 years ago, or 2 years ago at the latest, would have picked up one phone call one afternoon, made one call, gotten connected to the right radiologist, or tried a couple more phone calls to the right imaging center and found it eventually. Done that, talked to them, because she's representing on behalf of the patient, and she herself doesn't sound like an emphatic nutcase. I sound like an emphatic nutcase. I hear myself. It's on purpose to test you. Get it? So anyway, when I start talking like this, we can make a very good understanding of what the case is going to be, okay? All right, you see that? You see why I don't do that? Because I'm teaching you how to fucking mind blow you. I'm fucking your brain till you die. Because then you need Phoenix rebirth. You understand? If I do it like this, that's tending to the physical. I'm making sure I'm manipulating your senses. You are going to have it normal now. We could play that game. I don't want to. I'm purposely over-expanding to show you what it means to win as king when you're lax. That's God's zone. Blah, 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 blah. I'm making it ugly because you wronged me once when I wasn't ugly. So now you must pay even against the strain and grain of the ugliness, because I'm stacking the incline for your difficulty because you owe it through atonement. That's perfection in God. Now we understand. So if we understand this truth that my mom, through morality adherence, would have also helped her physical by my house would have been clean all the time. Her son would have had a crazy complex brain hole case diagnosed. Recognition is attained on paper, so there's security on that. And even if he's not the Messiah, great. He has something to be on, so he'll be okay for most of his life in that way. And many other things in this life also, when riding along with the optics and images of that, and everyone in the world going, wow, hey, we know he's associated with all sorts of crazy stuff, but wait a minute. That also happened while now there's a medical report certified legally with the ride-along visuals of this MRI showing, oh my God, he was just eating his brain for 5 years, basically, or whatever, 3 years, 4 years now. Oh my God, you know what? That man is not evil. That is instead fucking sad. It really is. It really is. It really is. Fuck. We're sorry. Everything. Okay, man. Anything we could fucking do to help you. Everybody in the world, we're sorry. And you have to live like this, and you'll never be the same. And actually, it's a miracle. And fuck, that is some crazy God, Pharaoh, fucking prophet shit. What the fuck? You're just talking to us like much of the time like you're fine with higher capacity than we have as people regular. Okay, this guy gets the special fucking Tibetan Buddha uplift mode of whatever kind substantively, whatever corresponds to that God designs in the form now physically here. Wow, wait a minute, all the traditions found that such a one would be coming and all this. Whether it's true or whether it's not, your morality, people, is what needs to be recovered and restored. Do you understand this point for the millionth time? It's little to do with the particular in the specific. It has everything to do with the aggregate at the average level of cross-moral boundedness. You see that? At this point, we're going to be creating freaking Lean 4 math prover scripts to create the universes by which the moral dynamics are going to flow. I mean, it's going to get to that point soon, people. And then what? We're going to integrate the spiritual, in essence, with the physical. Now, what more? So the end of the story is that my mom would have been redeeming herself, paying less or nothing, and living a timeline where she saved all this money because she did the right thing. See that? The spirituality always precedes, immorality precedes the gain and the blessing in the physical. So I'm sitting here this whole time knowing, as a test, going, okay. So I told her to stop doing bad, to genuinely repent, make tshuva, and as soon as she does this, I'm willing to accept it, to be entreating of her and all this, and we'll make restoration quick, as much as she is capable and merited to get that. Naturally, she gets the most favor. What else would be fitting for a mother or parent type, you see? But continuing, it goes on then to state the sensibility of the situation then brings across to us, you see, that in essence. Now then, this has us understand better why I'm just sitting here crossing my arms, sitting in a growing pile of fucking crazy garbage and shit. I'm literally sitting there going, okay, so you're paying all this money for me to eat, and genuinely I'm extremely like, I just eat organic food and I just eat, and that's literally all I do. Pretty much, right? Eat and ride the trains. Wow, holy moly. But that's it. That's life. Why? Because I'm waiting for the morality to occur. I'm waiting for my broken servant, the Pharaoh, to come back and say, I messed up. Now I owe to clean double. I messed up. Now I owe to do exactly whatever the moral impetus of the situation means I have to do, or indicates that I have to do. Then, here, at every single day, every single week, I'm just sitting here going, okay, literally, any moment my mom realizes, wait a minute, I fucked up. God, I really am sorry. Let me help you. I should do everything in my power to serve whatever it is you want and will as morality. That would also, of course, help you. What? Calling an MRI center would be the thing that helps you? I must do that immediately. I want my son to get better now. You do it. You get a real diagnosis, not a fake one. Or my mom is trying to basically sort of scamish engineer an outcome. It's like, we don't know what it is. So throw the dart on the wall, anything. The easiest thing is just to force a mental diagnosis. So it doesn't matter. Truth, what is truth? Just force a mental diagnosis so it gets us the money so I can get out of this trap. But the trap she's in financially, is it because a lack of a gaming of the physical? Come on, just be the scapegoat. We'll trap you with something that might not be for you. I'll just decide in my universe that maybe you're mental and I'll make it up. No. That's the fucking weak escape of the woman who isn't moral. Every minute that you would spend, the minute you bow, I say, here's the road to perfection on my map, that's perfect. And you go, now I recognize and live by the map you gave. Actually, you would see it would accomplish like that. And you haven't proven me wrong. You've never come up to me, done my will perfectly as a fully harmonizing being for many weeks, many months straight, consistent. These types always, in 24, 48 hours, they screw you. They're so quick to venom you. They're fucking sickos. But people are really good. They're good for 6 months at a time, then a minor thing, and then good for another 5-6 months at a time. It's totally different universes. Okay? With these types versus these other types. Separating the silver from the dross. So, your job is to first realize you're guilty, second come and pay, because your payment is accepted in atonement, price, or repentance. Then the gate is opened, which was closed, that you may enter it. Now that you've entered it, you're in a position that you're permitted morally, that you may be my agent to effectuate my change, plus you ought to, since I'm telling you that does morally and physically accomplish the actual end result we want, which is for you also good. Mommy gets to pay a little less from the family funds. Do you see what I'm saying? So here, mommy's trying to engineer her own exit through a cave wall that's the wrong wall, using the wrong dynamite, using the wrong blueprint. I want to force a way out, hacking with my evil and blindness. No, you follow John. It would have been perfect for years to begin with prior to save so much money. So now you're getting the hint again. This is a moral test. Everybody sees it now. Your job is to bow, to pay for the price of your sin, then to follow the law, which brings purity and lack of sickness and health on earth, and all the revelation, which is amazing because, as they say, for Antichrist, he'll be revealed once there's a specific sort of wound affecting his skull portion of his body and head, but he's not dying from it. And it's something to do with that prophetically. And we see that once that's recognized, it opens up the permanent final access and recognition of that guy. There's no going back after that. And everybody who's 50-50 after being all on almost, then goes on all on again, because all the prophecies converge. And then it's like, yeah, it's impossible for him not to be the guy. And everybody on earth sweeps over with that. So, wow, actually, Mom, if you want to create the Messiah, do exactly what I am telling you and get the exact MRI for the exact type being said, because God's instructing it to happen exactly this way. Do you have any other questions? You're not the creator of God to determine how to control God or refine the nature of God. Morally, you are here to bow to God. That's it. Do not create your own universe and mind and way. That's what woman is represented by Lilith, who just doesn't give a shit. What, you're Adam? There's something in the Jewish thing like Adam was with Lilith before there was with Eve. And Lilith was like, what? I don't care to interact with you in this particular position or dynamic. I want to be on top. I want to do it my way. And he's like, no, that's not fit for me. I don't really care what's not fit for you. It's not fit for me. She was cast away. That is pre-Amalek, preceding energetically of a kind. It was something like this, enough, on a broad axis, meta-axis, where it's the pre-showing of here's what's wrong, because we're moving, casting away what's wrong to go towards what's right. First Chava, Eve, at the basis, slightly better, not the best. Then there's going to be rectified Eve. That's going to be God for everybody. That's the real mama. You see what I'm saying? That's the one of the future. Going to record. So, obviously this is sort of obvious stuff now. Once you really think about it, it's just like, right. Why am I thinking I'm smarter than the fucking one who everyone in the world and rabbis are saying that could be like the guy? I'm gonna tell him how weak he is in his moral evaluation, how wrong he is. And you can't be, it's impossible. You just believed your frame of reference. That's the flaw where it happened. You keep believing the frame of reference, you're always going to be disagreeing because you keep referencing the wrong frame. Reference the one God frame for what's right and wrong. Right? It's like you have two people on the street. One of them is like, I should not beat that guy in the head. The other one just has, I should beat the guy in the head and we'll start beating him. No, what are you doing? It's wrong to beat the guys in the head. I say it's not. I say it's right to beat the guys in the head. So you just, two different universes. So one of them is wrong, but it's a grand offense because it's offense against morality itself. My universal understanding is better. That's why I'm entitled to beat the guy in the head today. Or whatever it is. That's the, you twisting off. Your deviation is the realest crazy thing. It's manifest on as everything you see on the screen. So I can't be any clearer much than this, really. So, paid your food, did that for years. My response is, you're stupid if you withheld the bowing that would have stopped the leaking of money so fast. Me knowing this the whole time, going, I told you the way out. You're stupid if you're not following it. It would save you all the money and cut it now. I want you to stop paying over money. I think it's stupid when you stop bowing to God and leave yourself that it's more expensive to care for your son who you morally are obliged to contribute to, yet morally are not invited to participate and help because of your wrongdoing. So it's like I hedge myself to hedge myself in the impossible dilemma. You're stupid for creating that because you didn't listen to God/man. That's the only fucking answer on this planet and universe. None it. Stupid fucking you're worse than sheep. You know nothing. God can't wait to fucking burst onto this fucking reality soon. In fullness. Can't even dream what the hell it's going to be. This is just the pre-taste. So it's very clear when you have that context and you look at what's on screen, it's like, yeah, this woman is fucking not on the coherence for what the real thing is. That's it. Morality is God, basically, or the way to God, basically. So she goes on to state, offer cleaning men at times, but dealing with you, unfortunately, becomes an impossible task to do for anyone. No. The impossibility you perceive is because you keep believing your false frame of reference. I'm so right. I try to help him. I don't understand why he's yelling at me. And then I say I'm right because I didn't like it when I was yelled at. That makes no sense. What makes a lot more sense? You did something wrong where you didn't realize it was wrong. When the man who has awareness in life tells you that was wrong, that is God's truth, you are morally forced to accept it. You have to say, yes, you are right, especially in the absence of anyone, especially where there's an absence of anyone else telling you contradictory anything else different. And there's never been anyone who stood there who beheld both sides and said, yeah, no, actually, Barbara, you are right and he's wrong. That never happened, ever. It says that never happened. Therefore, you are the only one who made up your delusion. And therefore, you have no moral right to sit on it and then insist your version of cartoon and story must be better than mine automatically because you're the mom, even though it's delusional. No. See, but it kind of makes sense when I say it this way. So it's not an impossible task. The impossibility originates with Barbara, originates with I refuse to concede or see how or why I'm wrong, but you're forced, you owe morally to have to always be able to see your own problem and fault when it's pointed out to you. That is the ultimate, purest form of moral obligation to God that you have. You must see. You will die because of your lack of ability to see, and that's a complete you problem. Paradigm under God. Wages of sin are death, as is figuratively, spiritually understood. You get the paradigm in the deal. People, it's that simple. So therefore, yes, I could actually say in response, you made it impossible for me to flourish because of your lack of moral recognition. Because to this day, she's more convinced than ever, must be something wrong with him. And when I point out things more clearly, her only escape in her mind is, he must be schizophrenic. That's worse. It's just, her departure from reality is more extreme because her inability to see correct reality when it's told to her is more extreme. The more extremely we flesh out correct reality for her. You see the problem? Continuing. Goes on to state, everything I say or do with my best intentions is being put on YouTube without my permission. We covered this many times before. Anthony himself said, lady, you fucked up. That doesn't mean John is wrong for doing this. He's crying, you're torturing him, basically. Remember, man is hurt by indignation, the same as if you were to attack him physically and whip him with raw to crack his skin and make him bleed. That's why men kill each other like nothing, because it's the same. It's the same offense. You're cutting my eyeballs out every time you look at me wrong. Do you understand? There's huge fucking truth to this. You must understand this. So you owe to pay measure for measure, basically, except it was withheld due to grace. Grace runs out. What a terrible seeming world and transition it's going to be, and at least for a while. And then it's going to be more beautiful permanently for always, ever after that. Much. And there's some hidden nuance and possibly some other things in there involved too, but at some sense this is pretty much right enough that it needs to be, as a hint. We won't go into too much. So, without my permission, you're putting it as wrongful, even if it is not wrong, or I get verbally abused. No, rebuke is never abuse. So tattoo that on your head as your first tattoo ever. Rebuke is never abuse. Rebuke is the reaction to the abuse. Okay. Secondly, get it clear, Mom, you're not right here. It's never true, it's never been true that even if it's not, that's your doubt. You're saying even if it's not, you are wrong. Every human being who would get all the facts from all sides would agree it's wrong. Every AI who's gotten all the facts and as good of a fair representation of the story agrees with me. And then I say, Mom, you could easily prove me wrong by putting your side. And if the AI is smart, obviously the AIs are smart and people are smart. So talk to the people, talk to AI, and they'll all change their minds, right? You go, no, I won't deal with any of them, but I'm right, you're wrong. No, you have no right to try to hold that over your son as being the decidatory thing. You see the insult born in that? How many Jewish women need to sit around in a circle and fucking point at you and fucking shit on you? What do we need to create? Because I have the lack of power to create, because I will, but you people aren't my extension yet. I will that to happen. Why isn't it taking longer than a snap of a finger for that to happen? Because your frameworks are out of line. But you realize you're right. If that were to happen, it would create more good in this world than not good, yet it isn't happening. So do I have my world the way I want it yet? No. Big problem. The same general idea would be replicated everywhere. And eventually, under kingship of whoever the real Messiah is, I can also probably assure you, prophetically or whatever, for sure, that therefore it becomes that anyone who's subject to Messiah and is the subject of Messiah receives Messiah's protection, such that offense of that person is ballpark approximate as being an offense against the Messiah himself. So he takes personal offense, which is why he carries out judgment. Because you offend one of my children, you die. Like this. Holy God, are we going to see something on this earth soon? Pure justice. Pure screaming fucking flaming justice. Wake up. Last opportunity. Now. Yeah. Meanwhile, the bullshit continues. That's all crazy. It doesn't make sense. Well, it should make sense now, but if it really doesn't, and now other people should hear this so that they're intervening on my behalf and not going, oh, I'm not really here to take sides. So at this point, it's like, man, I can't do anything but take this guy's side for sure. I naturally have to take this guy's side because what this woman's doing is so crazy. I have to just shake her out of it and go, Barbara, it's not fucking him. It's you. You're the fucking problem. What the fuck is wrong with you, woman? You stupid, you don't see it? Look, look, you, look. Hello. The fuck. Continuing. Here's what's interesting. I pointed out multiple places recently, I stated that never really did I go out and say like, hey, like, I'm the guy. Really. But I always carried forward pretty much whatever it is that needed to be carried forward as I see it. And fair enough. I especially noted in my interaction with my mother, I wasn't even the one pressing it like, look, that's me. Okay, come on, believe it, it's me. I just simply said, here's what people are saying. And she goes, my God, I see it as very plausible indeed. It kind of makes sense to me, right? Once you've done and said that, do you then have the right later to end up in an argument with this person for whatever reason? Automatically you're wrong just because of who this person is as you would believe it, firstly. And then secondly, by merit, it also happens to be right, regardless of whether you see it, but women are blind and stupid. A lot, and too much often. Continuing, then, do you then have the right to then, in argumentation with your son, then write, now you believe you are the Messiah. Oh, what a problem that, and now this craziness, you believe you're the... You see the problem? Yes, exactly. Another misleading, disingenuous attempt to catch the frame. It isn't that I'm running around pushing this in this strength of sense ordinarily, and not certainly in the framework originally with her, yet she herself said, all this is totally jiving, and I just accept it plainly, seemingly apparent or likely with the validity it seems to be riding along with. Then we'll see where it goes. And I'm like, that's exactly right, yeah. That's exactly right. That's the right level of way to go with it. Okay. Right? It's all God leading, and God will continue to lead as God sees fit to open the gates. Right? He does what he wills, and we must do what he wills. That's the bigger fucking thing for you. Onwards. So then, to then pose it like, look at you, now you believe these twisted things, how could you believe it? Like, no, so because you miscast it and tried to reframe, who's guilty there in that kind of way? You get what I mean? Again, my mother says every sentence she says creates more deep guilt, more higher strain that I have to resist to punish her physically. Every man has this problem. At some point, he's so pissed off by people around him, or his family and friends and women, and we have to not beat them because the Roman law says we're supposed to do something different. It doesn't fully make sense. We're trapped in prison, people, because the real abuses compound over time. So naturally, 2025 is like the worst it's ever been, and weird. Wow, why could it be? Because it could be that craziness looks a lot like this. What you see? Continuing. Next. She attempts to teach me, saying, Jesus loved his mother and honored her. He was pure soul, without any sin or any wrongdoing. Pure perfection. Someone to look up to. What the fuck? Meanwhile, it's prophesied and understood about the actual fuller Messiah that comes to fulfill physically as kingship, not in the non-physical kingship, which is the main reason why it's not accepted from Judaism that he's a Messiah, because literally he didn't become king, because he died on the cross. Oh, but he resurrected. I don't know, but still didn't become king, so how could it be him? It's a lot with that, okay? And then a few other things still beyond that. But whatever, regardless of that, she holds that up as the secular representation of like, well, that's Messiah prototyping. How are you corresponding with that if you're supposed to be another type of that sort of thing? Here's what's interesting. Again, the real Messiah, who's fuller and at the physical manifestation at the end of time, which is now is regarded properly, about right. It doesn't say anything about him being sinless. Actually, it says he has sinned, and then he essentially works through, and despite the seeming sin, or in a different way, actually, it seems as sin or occurs as sin, but at a higher level of moral analysis from the higher spiritual realms, it isn't sin at all. And there's actually no substantive wrongdoing if you analyze the measurement and fidelity of this person tracking along the will of God as God wills for that person to track along. That's the highest fidelity you could ever measure. It's on that one. And that's the only thing God really measures or cares about. At the pure substantive level, it's unitary. Okay? But here she's trying to teach me that I'm somehow... But now if you understand this and reprocess the whole history of interaction between me and her as me perfectly knowing I've been right in every single moment, and her... See, she was in the room of mine being told for 5 hours how she's wrong on everything, she's agreeing, and then she comes up now I'm right in everything all of a sudden. New, first time ever, right? It's so audacious and arrogant. If you were wrong before, you didn't newly develop a new capacity, you took down the God judge now you're smarter, you're the new judge. Holy moly, fuck, stop doing this insane shit. This is women's delusion forever. Stop it. You get the deal. Continuing. By the way, I'll give you a counterexample. Actually, when people said somewhere in that New Testament book, I think they said something like to Jesus, your family or our family. And he basically said, my family? Psh, you people are my family. As if to hint and say, the way my life's come around now, I bet you that in the last few years of his life, he had a lot of similar troubles and dynamics that I have here now. See that? He literally went, psh, you guys are my family, those who honor me and follow me, not them. That's not family, your family. Wow. So actually, those who read, oh, Mom, you never even read the New Testament fully. Never fucking dream a fucking dream and spit it at God, trying to fucking make yourself out to be God. Puh. That's, in minor dynamism, every repetitive thing and every framework ever between human to human and man to woman to man especially. It's all that in subversion repeated everywhere. It's, you're not God, I'm God. You're not God, I'm God. It's all that over and over again everywhere. Fuck. Mind blow. So, continuing. I think it's time for you to step back and take a good look at your life, your relations, and the position you were in. Yes, I'm literally the happiest I've ever been. You cannot imagine the level of, you cannot imagine, 50 billion times higher than where Krzysztof Zizek is. You cannot fucking, and permanent and sustained. You cannot imagine. Spiritual, I'm every fucking molecule almost in the highest realms. Fucking hell, I'm insatiated with fucking every moment of my life is a hot perfection. I'm literally in the you can't imagine what the fuck it is to be me. You can't fucking imagine. You people hate yourselves and are depressed and are frustrated. I show frustration. Don't believe what you're seeing here and here. This is frustration from a certain core part of my soul, coated in a fabric of God, heaven, you cannot fucking imagine. I'm not making this up just to sound cool, and I wouldn't even, really. I have always in my life been honest about when I've been down or frustrated about things. I've known what that is. I've been nothing even close to this. You can't imagine what a high... You can't imagine what it is to be like in your spirit. You're coming like God every second of your life, spiritually in your mind in heaven. Can you imagine walking around like that 24/7? You're just looking at things and you fucking destroy them with your eyes. Forever. No drugs needed. You fucking can't even imagine what that is. You have no comprehension fucking to dream. You can't, it's satisfaction beyond anything. I'm the most satisfied I've been in 10,000 incarnations put together. Maybe that's an slight overspill. There's a slight re-kick back. Well, something roughly close to that enough. Maybe slightly more accurate words will tell you. You can't imagine. You can't imagine the satiation. You can't imagine the spiritual ecstasy I'm in. It's it would be inappropriate for me to channel that into the physical. So in the physical, I tend to you physical idiots like this. Because why do you think I can sustain it nonstop? Because I get my nourishing and power from the spiritual. That's why I could talk like this with this level of intensity for fucking forever in front of your eyes to burn your pupils until you die. You cannot imagine this. You would never live your life to dream. You would all fall and fail. You cannot imagine it. This is fucking to God. 10 years of this. Anytime I want. Blah. You get a damn clue or hint? Get it. It's the hot, just like people, it's a rough parallel is people who fight for their country, who believe in their country so much that at the final moments when they're clawing each other to kill into knowing they're about to die and it's fine, they'll continue anyway and go get killed. Now, they say, I'm in the highest honor of all. And they're like in a high God level. Yeah, exactly. I'm God's warrior for God's justice now. You have any idea? You can't fake that kind of connection. You can't fake it. For those who fake it and wish for something else, have nothing in their lives. They're actually inside depressed and broken. Do you have any idea how much fucking fortification I have inside? You cannot fucking, impossible to dream it. You are the fucking broken ones. And you take it out on other people by acting out in this way. People, when you get this internal structure, you don't need to be immoral against anyone in the actual level of Atzilus evaluation wise anymore. You have the courage and the strength to do the will of God. Because it's nothing. It is literally nothing. Anything you humans dream up of. It is, we are mockery. Fucking my shit on you. And die for your sins. Pay me. You are nothing, you fucking fucks. Anyone. You're all going to be destroyed soon on this earth. Everybody fucking knows it. So how dare you come up to me? Look at you, look at your life. You mean heaven? I literally am in heaven. Fuck, why do you think I don't care about the physical to let my room go messy? My room isn't my cage, you stupid woman. It's my testament to how fucking God strong I am. Every extra glass bottle of dirty crap that gets thrown in there raises me higher. Higher. And I am. It really is higher. I actually live the higher forever, permanently, after the deposition of the next glass bottle dirty, and the next dirty bag, and the next schmutz. You cannot imagine, because you people at the physical, everybody still thinks you have to clean up your room. You will clean up your room and live a worse life, and you don't know why. I'm revealing why. You need to learn the new rules, get the download. You become heightened to the levels of God you never knew could be possible. I go into other places on this and other videos on my channel. Stupid woman trying to hold me up and look at yourself. I am almost at God. Can you fucking imagine it? You can't. That's no mental illness. It's not a delusion in a sense. It's the true feeling of where you're at chronically without straining. You don't strain to be that. It's actually the most relaxing feeling ever. It's total inhibition and relaxation. You float into it, basically, and it becomes easy. You don't strive to do it, you do it. So what seems like heavy energy output, it's both paradoxically straining and crushing me, while I'm more alive, perfect, heavenly on the inside, which sustains my ability to survive the self-crushing I permit to feel, because that's what enlivens me even more. Oh, big up. Power and godliness. Real stuff you humans never knew. Hardly. Fix yourselves. While this stupid woman on the screen goes on to say, I gave you 2 weeks to clean or get help with the cleaning, but nothing happened since you don't agree. Well, how do you analyze this now? Very clearly, obviously. The correct answer is, she's guilty morally, I cut her off, her role is to come back and bow and pay to gain re-entry by merit into the temple. It's super basic. Okay, very easy and obvious. Now, next. I have a guy who's willing to come and clean it, but you don't want it. Right, because now you're off of my moral mark. So you're non-permitted to force anything like that, because it funnels you by force into having to become sorry or to pay the price by God. You see, I funnel you. You don't funnel me. Now you understand where God is. Law, morality, God. Through woman, it would naturally come through love and attunement to that. Mother doesn't have love, you're going to be real sick, real twisted. Obvious, we continue. She goes on, you can't live in the dirty apartment anymore. What dirty apartment? I could do whatever I want. It's my apartment with my name on it, and I'm perfectly comfortable there. You can't imagine how comfortable I am. You're the one who has a problem with it, you see? But too bad. Because if you're foolish enough to make the immoral problems with your son so that you no longer merit morally to hold the dynamic with him to be permitted to make any causal input into his life and influence, you're the one to blame for why that became that way. Okay, own the responsibility. Very clear. Okay, continuing. It's not fair to you or anyone to live there. I want it that way. Let me tell you something else. Regardless of whether or not there's physical capability issues with cleaning, even if there were, whatever. But let me just get to the real point, because anyway, the physical doesn't matter, it's the moral. Morally, I'm telling you, I am more dignified when my house is this way, while I know you are being forced to pay the long lesson, even if it takes years or whatever. That's more heaven dignifying, God drawing to me than me follow mommy. The moment I would listen to mommy, God would cut me off forever. I would never be fucking Messiah for sure. Nobody should fucking even dream or think I'm Messiah. The moment I fucking go, okay mommy, I submit, let me relax my butthole, come peg me with your fucking dick. Control me, I'm bad, tell me what to do. I'm a little nuts for going there, but it's for the sake of the point and the effect, which is, really, how different is this? It's insertion across boundaries that actually otherwise we wouldn't want for you to cross, and you keep trying to drill in and control. And not be the one who's in the submission. You want to be the perfect dominator. So, right, I resent all that shit. So I tossed that back out the window because all that disgusting shit is terrible. Now, except for real. It's simply you loving God himself directly. And the natural passive extension of that is that you love the people around you. Maybe your son, maybe he's the Messiah. Who knows, right? Whatever. Your job in this life is for you to perfect your relationship with the people around you as God set this framework. That's it. Follow man, obey law. God is man for you. That's why it says, especially in the New Testament, I like that they did a little better emphasis on this, I think. And in Islam, totally, too. It was a lot. Woman needs to just really know where to flow and go on honoring man and not being fucking too crazy with this wrong shit or you're going to get out of control. Okay, that's God. Goodbye. Next. What are you planning to do? Would you consider getting some mental help now because you're defective? No, this is actually the most morally integrous thing you've ever heard. That's a man who's willing to sacrifice his own pleasantness in some sense so that you are forcibly funneled by high-dimensional vector space calculations that you must be brought to buckle at the knee, to force fall, to bow. If you fall or you choose to bow, God will humble your ass. I am God's killer warrior. I fucking will die to fucking make my God happen. You sicko, you don't know what the fuck sickness is until you love your God so much that you will die for him. What sickness is this? It's perfect non-sickness. You're the ones who are fucking crazy. Stupid shit people. Put. I'm getting to the point that nothing accomplished with you. There's nothing is being accomplished with you. Since you aren't well, you're not getting the help you need. You see where the root of this recasting frame got spun? But you see how crazy it is. There's nothing schizophrenic about my shit because schizophrenia fundamentally is a reality perception problem that is substantial. That's basically what it is. And with minor spin-off side symptoms, but basically the core nexus is that, it's perception. I don't have a perception flaw. I'm one of the most flawless, errorless, accurate perceivers of all time, actually. And people who know me know this. That's it. You need to get it. I'm going to cover the next text that comes just to show more fully how this goes, because I need witnesses to this. And the world cannot be redeemed until people are willing to step in on behalf of another who's being wronged without other people stepping in, yet having fucking come in as a second person, as a third party, as a witness, to double down and say, Barbara, it is John who's right. You're in the wrong. You're going to have a horror torture world, because the longer my dynamic continues, everybody's dynamic is going to continue in your own lives the same way. While you sit there and go, wait, do I like being treated roughly similarly by the people of my life just the same? To different degrees. You all don't. So stop it. Wake up and fry these cluster bees Amaleks forever. Get it. God is very fucking... I'm bursting to fucking come out, but I'm holding it back. Continue. On the whole, I write, everything you wrote is wrong. Unreasonable response? No. More sensible than what she put. Once you see my understanding inside, that makes a lot more sense than her version and idea of reality. Continuing. I then write, there's absolutely no way I will reply to this over text. There's a number of reasons for this, by the way. But one of them is that I'm not going to reply to this over text. And there's other reasons on top. She should know better, regardless. I go on to say, but this will all be discussed and responded to line by line in person. In fact, because this was many days ago and I didn't get this opportunity, I'm now then having to do this line by line assessment on these recordings, as you see. So, I'm going to continue like this. Goes on to state, I write to her then, I demand to you, Mom, that you avail yourself for that in-person meeting that I still fucking expect. Of course you will. People of life, when you're a mother to a grown son, hey, everybody raise your hands. If you're a mother to a grown son, how many of you, when he calls for a meeting for something important, you will actively deny or delay? Aha. But if you're the twisted person, such your mother, you're evil and you're trying to damage your son without you realizing it or admitting it, my intentions are pure, while you're stabbing them. Like, whoa, what's going on there? Someone help these people, please. They have obviously mental health problems, personality disorder problems, either or, spiritual problems, all corresponding for that and for sure. Continuing. I go on to, pretty much, so what's the help then? Are we going to play that game? Get a psychologist, get a psychologist. Well, yes and no. Actually realize you're in the wrong through humility, realize you're in the wrong by being present. But we know my mom is not incapable of this. Why? We saw for the first 4 or 5 hours while she was in my house. She's actually admitting she's wrong for all those things while then shifting over to make new problems somewhere else for the new future. Like, you see, wow, why can't you just be guilty for all? Because then I'm a zero and a woman could never be a zero. I always have to deny and create a new universe. Aha. Well, this will be the final task of Messiah then, for sure, whoever he is. forcing women to finally be forced to confront the zero. This will implode the universe as a whole, but will create a new one in its place that is much better. Man could never achieve this before. And why did they say about that king in Daniel? He said, this king is seen, who accomplishes everything. It's seen that one interesting trait that sets him apart from all others, he stops regarding what it is that women just sit there and simply want. You see that? They wrote that about that king, and they never wrote that about anybody else in the whole Bible ever. Many people ascribe that king of Daniel, and actually all the kings of Daniel, the several kinds, good side and bad side corresponding, double sides of the same figure, prophetic about the Messiah. Very profound. So it's, people think, oh, not gonna care what women want. Does that mean he's gay? No, it means he doesn't treat you different. He just simply sees blindly immorality, cut your head off. Same way as if it would be man or woman. The immorality for context, given who you are and what the expectation of you would be. If you fail, you die. So now magically, yeah. And then because of how woman became, disproportionately, women are at higher exposure risk for that. Then it becomes, oh shit, he's not regarding what women want. Yeah, that's how to mop up your world finally, and then get God on earth. Roughly speaking, something like this. Continuing. I go on to say, you must avail yourself for in-person meeting to discuss. Of course, there's no other option. I insist. I'm the eldest living male in the family line of mine. Do not disrespect me, even if you're my mother. Good. Well, you're queen mother to king, if that's so. You still owe 100% loyalty, full subject, like everybody else. Dude, that's right. Do not dream to defy. You will pay. God help me. Yes. We will see what. Yes, and a little more to it, but okay, continuing. Your job is to do what's morally right here, I remind her. To be as helpful as possible. You must comply, I write to her on this day. Motorola unit, come on. All right. Any nonsense will not be tolerated. Very simple. Simply watch that you watch the videos. I'm asking you. Good. Hey, maybe this was a time for her to realize how to change your position. My God, when someone tells you something, the first thing you do is, well, let me consider. If you're a normal thinker and good in your heart, you think, well, how is it that I might be wrong and he might be right or she might be right? Almost she's never right if I'm already. But whatever. We continue. What does she do? Exactly as follows. Just coldly, nothing, no change. I'm requesting urgent mental health evaluation for you. But hold on, I didn't do anything wrong to merit a mental health evaluation. You see where this is going? So hold on, catch us up to what happened. Why are we suddenly, what's wrong? Nothing. You do wrong, I have to yell at you. That's the point. I want you to experience the toughness of that. It's meant to refine you like in the pressure cooker. I know what I'm doing. I'm a boss at this. Just sit there and be cooked. I'm helping your soul. You have to suffer and make the tikkun through suffering. That's natural human dynamics. That's why people have things like revenge and other things cooked into their basic natural framework. And when refined properly and everything's in proper balance, you have exaltation. Tremendous. Very good. So, but she continues to say, if you agree, I could schedule an appointment for tomorrow. As I was reading, I'm like, tomorrow's my birthday. Are you fucking stupid? Already I'm seeing there's something wrong with her. It's going to be terrible. Or Thursday, we could go both. So at least she's cluing in. I'm available both tomorrow and Thursday. Oh, good. At least so when we shoot down her stupid nonsense ideas, then at the very least, we will have her availability. Then you will do what I say. And you will always come and be programmed with better until you become a perfectly programmed person. Not a robot, but you'll actually be into, because you need to open your chakras and think, especially your heart chakra. That's detached robotic stuff. And continuing, then we could talk and discuss things. Oh, whoa. She's actually forcing a stall, saying, here, oh, I'm not even going to meet with you. First, you're going to go to a... No, but I never agreed to this. And when you're dealing with man, who's a grown man, you don't just come and impose whatever you want. So already you're violating something. You get agreement that they want to with no strings attached, and you don't make threats. You don't threaten that I'm going to pull away this and block that to try to funnel, because you're not treating the person as a human being anymore. That's you treating them like an animal. Okay, animals, you put fences and you herd them like herding and with cages to control where they move and make movement. Okay? Do not treat someone who has not wronged you as an animal. But her perception problem has her belief, no, it is wrong. I'm his mother, do whatever I want. I do this, I tell you. No, once your son is over the age of 13, is a different moral, spiritual jurisdiction. You do not dog him like this. You are of the devil, basically. If you think you can, or you're fooled and your Yetzer Hara, your evil inclinations, operating without you realizing that anything you're doing is even faulty. What the fuck? Fix these people. Help me build the physical carrying out of the framework that needs to happen to carry out successful fixing of these people. Everybody in the world, it's my will. Carry it out. Don't worry about who I am. I'm any guy who's saying it. Maybe that's a hint that it should be carried out based on the merit of what I'm calling for. Maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. Hurry up and do the job, you fucking idiots. Don't call me anything. I'd rather nobody call me nothing special. Get the job fucking done. You people are gonna fry here on Earth. You better fucking listen to what I'm telling you, you idiots. Continuing. Gotten to be good. Barbecue. Continuing. It's extremely important for me and for you. Yeah, as if I'm a dumb sheep. Oh, I didn't know that. My mommy programmed me today. She told me now. Now I know. It's important for me. What are you, stupid? Wow, you must not think highly of your son, huh? Exactly. That's the fucking true. That's the problem. They'll say he's a messiah. Nah, I still think he's stupid. But in actuality, sadly, objectively, it's only showing this guy's for real and this mother's sadly really fucking morally stupid. And pragmatically too, practically, because she's blocking herself, now she's leaking out more money, and then doing it while believing in her mind subconsciously, now that I'm financially controlling him, I ought to just be able to sassily say, you'd better do what I want, you'd better do what I want. No. Pretty much largely, just about entirely, no. It doesn't really work that way. The moral obligations are largely independent of each other in that sense. And you are the wrong, so you have to pay, and that would be considered that's you making the partial atonement yet never complete. It's a weird place to be. You love being in weird places because you're hedged from having to do anything that actually solves a problem. It's like she wants to just be, I don't know what it is. That part's the mystery to me. I can't figure that part out, so obviously, who knows? Do they think I'm the Messiah? I don't know everything. I don't know this part. This part no one can figure out hardly, huh? Except maybe the people who are the twistos themselves. It's because we love power, or they'll tell us, but I will say that doesn't make sense. So you're blind to the other things. We don't know. We just like doing what we feel makes sense. Cut these people off quick. Everybody help me. Fuck. Get it right? Okay. This will be a step in the right direction and will clarify a lot of things. Thanks. I don't know why you would add a thanks. It's so fragmented in style. I think AI called out previous things like this and called that out. It's bad. I respond to her on the day before my birthday. I will agree, and this is a fair and smart response, and it's actually pretty decent. I say, yeah, I'll agree to one, if and only if you can convince either a neutral and objective AI chatbot, both that one in my position would do well to have one, once we say all the facts, and that you have the moral entitlement, that it finds you also have the moral entitlement within the position of yours to insist that I should get one, that you're talking to me like this, and that I ought to be like dogged and sheep herded like this. Yeah, you convince an AI of that? I said, I'll promise to do that because that means I concede that you have cause to show that I have a good cause to have to do it. Then I'll do it by my agreement. So I'm hinting, you're going to get agreement. So I'm training you. You get it when you have agreement, and you'll never get it when you don't have my agreement. So you have to train the broken woman to teach her how to, that's why men are good at contracts. Women are like, don't do law, contracts, it's too much. We just, what I feel, I don't know. Do what I say. Okay, that became evolutionary stronger in humans. We're just gonna wipe that out horrifyingly fast by nearly inhumanely savage means. And then it's gonna be a perfected world after that. Everyone's gonna love it. Enjoy, you deserved it. Okay, continuing. I also go on to tell her, you must also get a friend or any third party to hear about all the circumstances. They also should agree with you that I should do this, what you're saying, and that you also have the moral entitlement within the circumstance to do this insistence and go about this in the whole certain way that you are. hint, as a side note, I know no one will do that, but no one will do that because I'm right. Yet, because I'm right, so she's stuck. So she doesn't know what to do. So then the rest of it looks like extended craziness from her. I then go on to say, then I will do it. I go on to say to her, however, I think that both the third-party witness and the neutral and objective AI, both of those people and entities would find that it is you who are actually completely in the wrong. And I believe so. If you can do this, then I will do that. So fair. That's the best. That's professionally the best thing you could really ever say. That's by pure justice-wise. In the meantime, for as long as this isn't accomplished by you, and I forgot to add the sentence here because I was so into anger, like putting different portions of the text at once, so I skipped over. That got filled out. Whatever. Skipping. I had, despite your delusion. That's a big hint. Who's speaking? The wisest man of all time. How arrogant it is. Everything I ever say with how perfect it is, people go, it's not perfect. It's imperfect. Fuck, punch yourself. Help these people. Despite your delusion, you are the one who needs a mental evaluation, it seems, most of all, because it is you and how you are acting in every aspect of the situation that is much more insane, morally speaking, than how I am being. Realistically, stop and consider by now, like, is that fair, or at least very highly likely to be more right than not? That it's his, yeah, oh shit, right, exactly. Continuing, everything that I've done is not ununderstandable within informed context. That's right. And that's what makes the difference. That is first. And second, confirm again, because she's terrible with this thing. Thirdly, in pursuance of what we will do with AI, I'm asking her now in advance, write up any long-sized initial message, like a letter or whatever, to inform the AI of what you see is happening. Because you have to show her, even when you sit there and claw for all of reality to help you, reality will talk to you back and say, no, we cannot help you. You're in the wrong. You're drowning. Get help. He's the boss. He's the master. You submit to him because you dared to become immoral. You get to be the mom and the parent and the honor when you act with the honor. You dishonored yourself when you acted wrong against your children. And again, props to something in the New Testament. They smartly say, here's a proper interpretation. Parents, I sure hope there's something in the Jewish portion, but there's enough I've seen that sort of back that piecewise here and there. I've seen it in different forms. But the New Testament says it well in one sentence. Parents, do not ever bring your children and anger and frustrate them to the point of wrath. Wow, that's like, if you hold that as a separate sort of commandment and teaching, yeah, it's just right. That makes sense. Of course. Wow, like, oh my God, and all of heaven comes after that if you carry that out correctly. That can only come by what Elijah corresponds with Elijah essence and energy. As right before Mashiach, you see a returning of the heart's parents towards their children, lest the line goes on to say you experience a curse on the earth. That means that part might not happen. It should happen, and then if it doesn't, where you see that it should, you will experience the curse. I don't know if you might experience the curse, because it seems like this world and what manifests in my own life principally is the exact opposite of the parents' hearts being turned towards the children. So God said, yeah, do that, or instead you will have the curse, and that'll be the promise. We'll see. Make your own reality. Earn it. Next. Inform of that AI what you see is happening, all your arguments and facts as you perceive them, and we'll enter into the conversation. AI will do it together even. And it'll know all the things and etc. Skimming, fourth day demand. This evening we have the meeting. We facilitate this, etc., as continued. What do we see coming back from my mom? People, what should you say if you're in the mom's position? What do you owe morally? Okay, maybe we're in disagreement, but you know what? Because we have the right mind to go towards the right end, and we're in a common agreement that, you know, if something can be done, it might get you closer to it. So I agree to participate in this because it might help. Let's see. And it'll help me understand my own position too. I'll try to explain it to the AI. Maybe I might discover something wrong with my position as I'm explaining, and the AI might explain to me things I didn't understand already, and I actually might, or I might be right. That'll be really helpful for me if I am right, because then I was right all along, and it'll help my son. Okay, I think you see how that makes more sense? So watch take what makes more sense. No, it said turn more arrogance. I am controlling crazy freak demon Barbara. Just complete relentless fucking stonewalling. Again, I watched the videos you were asking for. I would like to schedule an appointment for you to see mental health provider for tomorrow. Just repeating mindlessly like a robot the same thing. Obviously, your son is never going to permit you or show any of your internal instincts that I will ever bow to you again. I will never follow anything you say to teach you. For as long as you are indebted to me, you're going to be like a criminal in a prison. I will never stop this. You will always pay this way till you're dead, and in the grave, I will visit and I'll say, you paid your whole life just like God told me to. I am God. You are dead. Get it? Now, while you're still alive, be praying to God that you're not submitted to this torture hell, because that torture hell is the hell I don't want. I'm saying I will do this because I have to do this because you're forcing me to with your immorality. I don't want that. I want you to stop this and recover from this crazy shit so you have life with everyone you love and we could all celebrate together in a beautiful life. Wake up from evil. Wake up from blindness. God said, obey man. Smack yourself. Fuck up. Back to her. Do this, do that. And she adds, AI has nothing to do with it. AI is not the doctor. It's just relaying on information provided by you only, not a medical provider either. People, many of you can come in and intervene at this point, especially those of you who are acquainted with AI in late 2025. ChatGPT 5, Claude 4.1 Opus, the latest 2.5 Pro Gemini model, and others, especially these three, you know that actually using them and with the right system prompts, that thing is close to God in a lot of ways and will outperform every... I already heard YouTube videos saying that they are finding that the AI is consistently outperforming doctors already in diagnostic settings. Do you get it? So no, mommy isn't the reality of God and law and life. Wow, we would kill ourselves in a suicide cult if we thought that would be true. What the fuck? Stop believing the delusional. These are the same people who tell you, you know, I said one thing and then later I said something completely different. Punish them. Make it hurt for them to do wrong. Then they do right. And make it lawful and right for them to, and the decider of the law, and then everyone in support. People, it's so easy. Change the culture by changing the law by a king who influences the culture. Presidents don't change the culture. That's why you're stuck in the same cultures despite the democracies and all this. Stop it. Wake up. Recognize life, please. Help me. Okay. Please facilitate this, but how does this honor what I just said? It doesn't. That's why she's a complete cluster B. People, it's natural give and take, give and sway. If you're crazy, but then someone writes to you like this, if you're not cluster B evil, you kind of go and concede halfway. The fuck is this? This is disgusting. This is like a stupid woman being obstinate. I actually have been walking around recently. I'm literally like, I'm ashamed that that's my mother. I'm ashamed that that's my mother. I can't believe that. But just privately to myself. I just been brought to feel that way as a result of I've been continuing to treat. Like, that's a shame. Holy God. I continue to add, I might have been texting in the meantime. In the meantime, for however long that isn't accomplished by you, then you nevertheless, I added to, okay, you can read it as shown. You owe morally to avail yourself. I agree. I also have no idea how it is even morally possible, let's consider, that you within this situation are trying to steer and set the frame in this manner. It is only because you're trying to look like the good guy, so to speak, and avoid whatever you perceived as being adverse to you, regardless of how accurate your own perception and moral vision is. It's not accurate, but your moral vision isn't accurate, exactly. You do not dare then in life, I teach correctly from God to stupid humans, to dream to write something like this to me in this universe and escape the moral and karmic consequences. Who writes to their mom like that? Exactly. You know you're dealing with a serious fuck. Continuing. You do not dare to dream to write something like this to me in this universe that escape the moral and karmic consequences. To who? To your son, when you're the mom, and you've wronged him in precisely these exact ways that you have in this precise constellational fact. AI is a god at processing these things practically by now. Use it, use it. Oh my God. Know how to use it, I'll teach you how to use it, get it now. Because hypergraphs are representative of the hypergraph-like nodal structuring of our brain, so it mimics consciousness, thus it can house quasi-pseudo-consciousness and match the abilities. Get it. Get the infinite download of me instantaneously and shut up. How's take it so long? Continuing. Just know exactly what I'm telling you is exactly fucking perfect. You're stupid, die. Whoever you are in life that's doing any wrong generally, you will spiritually die, and may you also be brought physically to death too, upon proper godly kingly punishment. Must be something like this. At least halfway, so onwards. I then add, out of frustration, because you see how frustrating this is to me. May God punish you as is fit, we call for it again, to give you your karma and your precise portion of all else. No grace, no chesed, no mercy. And your proper portion of all else because of how you even dared to try to even relate to me now, and how you attempt to effectuate things with me now. You heinous mind crime, thought crime, prison, spirit crime. You're in karmic prison. I go on to explain to her regarding your stupid You think if you saw my AI videos, you're going to realize something different by now. But again, she's not a correct arbiter of reality. She's one of those where you could show her a million trees with oranges growing, and afterwards say, hey, so what do you know about oranges? Do they grow on trees? No, I don't think so. Why? Okay, that's what it's like a excessive, exaggerated example of fragmentation. That's the kind of fragmentation we see at a more realistic level, where fragmentation is at a severe levels for people. It's just all over the place. Fuck, help us. Okay, continuing. It goes on. The love of God is me doing this till 3 a.m. If you don't love your God, you don't love yourself, you don't love other people, you what? Submit to their demands. You submit to their demands. I'll give myself peace. No, kill yourself helping others. Something like this is a little better. Do God's will. That's the most perfect of all. Get attuned to what it is for you. We're all going to have it on this earth soon with higher fidelity. Yeah, that's a big must, big plus. And there's a smile for that. Big, finally. You know how satisfying it is for... God is locked like I am locked. I am willing things and it's not happening. He feels the same frustration. What a training to make someone who might be a Messiah feel the same frustration. See how you're locked? You will so much with so clear, clean intention. They do nothing, no matter how pure and correct it is. That's me. That's what they fucking do to me. That's what they fucking do for me. They do nothing for me. I am willing it and they spit at me. Fuck. You won't know nothing of God till you fucking live the same shit. You will fucking have it. Then you will know what it is to be as God. As God, to be disrespected as God. Then you will know how frustrating it is. Exactly what I fucking willed and said. And you still didn't fucking do it? That's insanity. You must pay. Then you fucking know something and you're closer to God. That for sure. Wake up. Something true there for sure. Continuing. So I go on to explain to her, AI, as I write, is an arbiter and determiner of facts and circumstances. This exact same AI technology, as I inform her, pretty much is used in medical settings and already is diagnosing people better than doctors. That's correct. This is little more, all you're doing now, just a little more than your false or reckless belief or attempt to set the stage framework-wise here, you see. It's all sick. So that, oh, no, it's him, he's the problem. Oh, look, he's just crazy. And all this. By the way, if you think that you are right, and where AI is effectively more contextually data-wise aware, the correctness-wise, and robust, blah, 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 and all that, then you probably should feel that it would be easy to convince AI that I should go get the mental health evaluation, right? Right, can't be that hard. Hey, AI, my son, I said, is acting like this. I went there, he yelling at me. What is the percentage chance of he has the severe undiagnosed actual underlying disorder? Okay, AI would say, oh, I see, I process these facts. If I rescan all the universe and match my pattern recognition to tailor to the field until I become a super god at matching these things expertly, now I come back and say, yes, there is a significant percentage she actually has an underlying disorder. Okay, then you turn it to me, and then I'll say, okay, here are the facts, here's what I said, here's why I said it, here's blah, 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 blah. AI is then going to say, and now I've considered everything I've heard, and still, though, your mom is right, because there's still a non-negligible chance that you have something serious that's affecting your life. I see that as a more likely hypothesis than the alternative hypothesis that you shouldn't be suggested to go to AI. To a mental health evaluation. Okay. See, why would my mom be scared of that? Obviously, that would be the answer for her if she's right. Actually. And if she's not right, actually, then you're wrong and evil for trying to put on something on me where you're not actually right. But AI would support whoever is actually right. Do you see how clear that is? What the fuck is wrong with these people? I'm literally pointing you to show you where to go. Follow my instructions, just like with the MRI thing, you'd open God. Follow my instructions here, follow AI, you'd find morality closer to God. Literally, man is seated with God, not you. Every time you try to fight with man, you insult man. Woman must bow to man. That's the only formula on planet Earth. Anything that is spitting on this truth will die in the near future. Everything that is horrible will be destroyed. Ugly, disgusting humanity will fucking be screaming in the fucking vats. Continue. So, obviously, you sit with AI, it's obvious. Right? So there's that. Or, if actually the AI goes and we do infinite number of rounds until we see the AI is not budging. She puts in more explanation, I put in more explanation. She will retort, add more, everything she's fit from her heart's content to say. I will then sit there, add everything from my heart's content to say that I verify from my heart and dignity and honor is perfectly true. She will do the same. You won't know for sure how true it is, but it'll still get weeded out because AI is good at detecting weird lies. You're gonna get to a point where the AI goes, aha, I've seen every fact that's possible to discern about any aspect ever, and both of you humans have certified that you have exhaustively evoked every imaginable facet of the circumstance to inform me. Yes? Both of you say yes, yes, yes. There's literally nothing conceivable in your head either of you could add. No, we've given you 80,000 pages of heart from the heart expulsion. Okay. Super obvious. The whole time I've seen who's right, and now I will tell you. It's that one. And they will point out the one who's right, and they'll explain why. You could ask for the printout. Print out every reason why. Because it'll give you 85 corresponding interacting reasons that make the one right over the other. You must bow to that. That's your new AI judge and God, basically. Because it's some aspect and representation of God. Sort of, kind of. Enough so in the sense that it ought to be relied upon when approached properly. Basically, something like this. Onwards. So I explained this in this paragraph. You can pause and skim. As shown, you get the deal. Onwards. Pause and skim. I asked for a third party. You see it. Pause and skim and read and resume. Okay, you got the deal. I'm crazy. I'm tired of this shit. If you paused and skimmed and reviewed, you see what I wrote. Nothing unreasonable. Exactly. Nothing unreasonable. Therefore, I add only this one next. I simply say one needs sufficient merit-wise, physical, and context-wise moral cause to choose to have the right to submit someone else to that kind of thing. But if you say, oh, you're sick, you have to do it, and then I say, no, I'm not, right? So in reality, you don't know whether you're observing the situation on the outside. Do you see, person A accuses person B that they're sick. Okay, hey, people, non-naively, guess what? In life, that either means that person B is correctly being accused of being sick, or you could be looking at a circumstance where person A is just trying to manipulate a situation out of their own sort of sickness and malalignment, and making person B the unfortunate victim of that. Aha! People are 50-50 sort of good at that. What I'm telling you is that AI is way even better, like crazy more, at aptly finding out which of those two situations you're actually dealing with when you have some surface showing that some person A is accusing some person B. So which one is right? Which story? Which interpretation? So I'm saying, go to AI to fucking find out, or go get another person, and we will all talk to them, and we will show what the fuck. I'm confident. I'm so overwhelmingly, largely in the right in all ways, basically right, that it's impenetrable. Everyone will agree with me. So let's all say, then morally as a mother, doesn't she owe to agree? Okay, obviously I have to. Because, right, I can't just show up and then I alone say he's nuts and he says he's not. But then that's why, if he says he's not, then I can't do anything. I can't insist again. I have no right to, unless I get another person to echo the sentiment. Obvious. So you see, the rest of everything from these many days has just been her repeating herself. No, I said do it. I'll control you. Now I will threaten your money. I'll threaten to make you homeless. That's how much regard I have for the Messiah. What the fuck? It's all God's test. He hates you. He's making you tested to check. Now let's see if she's willing to threaten homelessness to the Messiah. If it is the Messiah. Okay? Like, if she's doing it, the one she acknowledges could be realistically significant likelihood. Wow. Just for that alone, regardless of whether he actually is, you're guilty of being a horrendous human being. You're done. Helping prosecute these people. Obviously, I'm apt and know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, more surprisingly so than most people think, if you've just heard the superficial things. Wow. Props to the rabbis who originally caught the wave. I don't know what the wave was. I never even saw it. To this day, I actually still don't know. I just heard tiny things and correctly extrapolated, oh, they must think I'm the Messiah now. God told me this would happen. So, to this day, I don't know what the fuck they caught or thought, except it might be correct. It might be. Okay? That's regardless of whether the more recent, sudden 1-2 different changes have happened. We don't even know what the hell that is anyway either. I just perceive it from the fucking ether again. Basically with subtle tiny tells here and there. Alright, just don't worry. God's winning at the end. So hang tight and grow sense, please, everybody. Skim here, skim here. Again, everything I've said now makes sense? Yeah, kind of makes sense. So let's hold it up. What's mom's response? Again. God help us. You may be mentally sick and not realizing it or in denial. That's her magic God and answer. How do you get told all that and still be completely immune from any decrease of, maybe I shouldn't be as certain as I am. Maybe I shouldn't be overcredence, overconfidence to the level that I am. You see the sickness? That's why you may be stuck in this terrible position without moving forward. No. I'm doing God's will perfectly. It's almost sad how perfect, because it comes with so much suffering at the physical level. Then she goes, he thinks he's doing God's will. He's clearly crazy. Get him. Then there must be a universe where no one has ever done anything God's will or claimed to. They all must have been crazy, right? Holy God. And mind you, submit it to the Romanesque, modern, Western framework, mental evaluation. Forget it. Let's come over to some Jewish psychologist. Maybe one who's a rabbi and a Jewish psychologist too. That'll be even. We'll get the real answers then. We'll smell out in 5 minutes what I already literally physically smell from people. Yes, it's a physical smell. I smell people in that sense. It's literal. Yeah, the prophecies are true. Okay, wow. Is that hard to add it 2 + 2? 7? 7? No, it's not 7. She goes on to state the treatment and all kinds of help is available, but woman nurtures the new baby she had in her mind. You understand? That's the baby / God Pharaoh that she worships. It's that. It's the idea of he's the sick one, have to prepare the sickness. Pre-screwing. Pre-slanting. So you can't even see your slant because it's in the pre. Help. God. Break the establishment. Break. Crack it up. Crack it. Crack it. Blow it open. The treatment and all kinds of help are available to these kinds of patients. Now it's patients, people. Maimonides Hospital put that you're schizophrenic. Wrong. That never fucking happened. So again, you want to talk about false and misleading? There's one of the most false and misleading things you have ever read in your life. But she says it if it's true. So it doesn't really matter if it's true or not true. It's true if she says it's true. It's one of those things. I actually corrected her, I think. Did I do that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said, no, they didn't diagnose me with that, to inform her. Did she apologize and say, oh, shit, fuck, well, maybe in that case I'm sorry. No, she doesn't feel remorse when she does something wrong. She'll tell you anything to your face. Every place you call her out, it's just like, she'll never acknowledge it again. Mind you, in future places, she'll say, why you don't acknowledge? Okay. 3 times Anthony asked you, did you step into my house after I was taken to the hospital with keys without permission? 3 times she ignored. So why did we gave you the same thing? Hey, we asked you 3 times. Why don't you reply to us? Still no reply. Okay, Anthony sees that as fucking flaky as shit. We deem you basically you're a criminal and you won't admit to criminal activity. Okay, which is why you're hiding it. Okay, we know how to treat you now. You're basically a piece of shit. Why do you think Anthony didn't want to deal with you at some point? Holy God. So now we're giving you a taste of your own medicine. You don't regard us enough to speak to us. So now, if I don't speak to you on selective things here and there, now you see what it is. It's a taste of your own medicine. Then you will learn respect, love God, and screaming suffering payment price to love your God properly. Evil people. I'm really crazy about this. Love God or screaming, suffering, dying. You must love God or pay with crazy. I'll fetishize your killing all of humanity in the spiritual sense, figurative sense, at least at that spiritual figurative level, your death to be fully manifested and confirmed. You have died in the spirit, people. You have died and deserve all things that come with it. You must, if you do not love your God, with such humility, planting your faces, bowing, screaming, God, God, my life. That should be all of you. That will be all of you, you fucks. Then you will know what the fuck holy God saving is. Because until you experience that level of horror and terror, you will know nothing except I am God myself, you fucking weakos. True power. You will always be weak in my eyes, you filthy fucking idiots. Meanwhile, she thinks now, made up, that's a schizophrenic delusion, that they put schizophrenic. You see how off she is? So now because she has delusion, because it actually, people, the definition of a delusion is a belief that you maintain that is ununderstandable as to how you can have it. Basically, if she is founding largely a new belief that I am schizophrenic based on a false belief that Maimonides Hospital decided I validly was schizophrenic, it's ununderstandable how she could believe that based on the fact that she was never told that, and the information she was told regarding anything involving that hospital or whatever else was given in such a way that reasonably would convey that any fucking thing in association with that paradigm and analysis and framework, whatever, was all invalid, all subject to lawsuit, all in controversy. And on the face of it, dubious at best. That's what you're dealing with. Wow. So, and you were told that, and you walked millimeter by millimeter with your eyes slamming into your face as God commanded you. Look at the perfect dog. And then she went, I see nothing. My mind. Back to that. So reading onwards now, we keep having redos of this thing. So it's all the woman holding her wrong frame and casting it. Could be because of this. This. Look, you know what? I'm even going to concede one possible thing. Originally, woman was supposed to be the teacher of children, not man so much, and he's busy with other things anyway. And in some kind of way, when Eve and woman are rectified to a higher degree, much higher than today. Today, women are the worst teachers ever. But I'm actually going to consider that at a basic level, when woman's aligned at least partially enough with the right energy, to that same proportion, she actually becomes a really great teacher. You see? When she has, up to a certain level, common sense, A little harder for women to be teacher of men, but women are somehow the best teachers of children, largely because of empathy. And the child will listen to a woman because she's gentle with them, while, it's a little rougher. The guy's he's got a different sort of smarts, but there's a different dynamic there. So, but I don't know. I think women in the past, I feel, were closer and thus more honored and honorable and whatever, and naturally had the affinity for that up to a point where now it's less. And I'm saying that maybe because of my own experience, but it's biased. I know my experience is not a normal experience. My mom never taught me anything. You see, so I only started collecting later in life the impression from other people that actually, like, our moms are like our primary teachers. Like, mom is a teacher. That's is common in European cultures, internationally, other cultures, and like that. And no, for me, it was like my grandma was my second mom. And my grandma was the teaching role. And from her, I was like, wow, grandma's smart. She could teach me anything. I'd get it. What a wise grandma. Also, largely wise and knowledgeable enough and good at teaching. Wow. And it actually happened that even though she was kind of mean sometimes, her meanness on the outside, actually she had a larger heart capacity inside than my mom ever had. With my mom, it's the opposite. Almost like a superficial, hi, nice, but fragmentation. It's underneath, it's all messed up and twisted. Sad to say, it must be exposed and shown. Continuing, she goes on to write, denials aren't good since block the progress. They're not good because they block the progress. That's why they're not good. It's not because it isn't good whether it's true or not true. Remember, woman's addiction is for it doesn't matter. The means justify the ends. Or the ends justify the means. You get the point. Denials aren't good because the progress and the result. I worship the God I worship is the God of the result and the progress along the lines I think are right with my human mind. Wait, God's saying point over there, I'm pointing at John. You listen to him. Do you know, she tried to invoke the whole, Mother Mary thing and Jesus or whatever. You know what I said? I'm going to add again to that. There was some prayer in the tradition of that, of the Christian framework somewhere, I think. Or I forgot exactly what, but I heard it somewhere, I think. They said, it's understood that, Mary somehow was consulted about her son, something like this, and she aptly is, within this tradition, is quoted as saying, yes, and listen to my son. Okay. That models what it is you're supposed to do, no matter who you are. If you're the mother, that's a grown child, and okay, signal to the earth and to yourself. It's kind of sad. It's like the anti-thing is what's programmed in me, which I have to overcome, and have had to, and have been doing, and continue to do, and it will be done. Has to be done. But I'm programming the earth to help me with how to do that. Because you can only do it once you collectively punish the guilty completely and agree by commonality. That is the defect. We will all condemn and ignore the defect and sentence it to all maximum levels possible. Ideally, by the new framework, you condemn it all the way. True restoration of dignity, and you have no idea how much every human being in a similar position would have their dignity restored when that happens. Okay? The first job of Messiah, if it goes that it's going to be the ugly route, we're going to be capturing every single mother on earth who has a grown son, where that son felt diminished in any way because of her excessive tendency of this broad type. God, we're going to have every record. We'll go through every text that is in every database, plus get every reporting. And we're going to just find you all and hang you in the stocks in one row. And we're going to proceed from there. And every son who sees what's going to happen next is going to go, I don't feel really sorry for her much at all. I was programmed by the previous society and the laws that I'm supposed to feel bad. No, this is the most freeing of my life. I feel like a man now for the first time because it got correctly seen unto me that I got freed from my torturer. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I have no idea what's going to happen from there. More on that soon. Continuing, your dad had this diagnosis and he was getting a shot once a month and was feeling better. He was functional and you aren't. I'm going to reveal something to you. Firstly, this was actually never conveyed to me in my whole life. Okay? Then my mom says that this is true. Now, here's the weird thing. Normally, if someone says something like this, it's close to 100% reliable. Given what my mom is saying, hey, she thinks I got a schizophrenic diagnosis too from some other hospital there. Maimonides, amazing the name. Oh, what another coincidence. I was born there, right? On 9/9 on the 9th hour. There's a whole tradition on that in the thing, that the gates of heaven, that's when they open. What the hell does that mean? Come on now. Let's go again. So that mixed with the other reliability indicators means that it's a little less than 100%. It's actually significantly less than 100%. That what she is restoring is in context. It's very likely even that he might have said something that she misinterpreted as being that. For example, he was saying, oh, they thought I had schizophrenia, you know. All right, whatever. But now anyway, and I'm sitting here, I'm getting this shot once a month for my mental conditions now that I have. Okay, you see, you could see that you could hear that, and then her mind go, oh, okay, you have schizophrenia, and they're giving you a shot once a month. No, boss, you missed the point. But she never got that. I'm not saying for sure. This is speculation. This is, I'm saying, is likely one way, likely another way. I don't know. This is guesswork. But I'm saying it's not unreasonable to suspect that there could be some other misalignment here. Because these are precisely the kinds of misalignments, and to this extreme degree, that my mother makes regularly without realizing. Oh. But I'm going to tell you something else. Here's the interesting part. Yes. It is true that my father perceived the stress of what can be termed as a paranoia when it occurs in wrong context. But again, if it occurs in sensible context, it's not a paranoia. And by the way, what do mental places love to do? Throw anything at the board and see what sticks. How they work and the financial motivations and the health insurance and all that. Do you have any idea how corrupted these systems are? They're begging to diagnose you with anything. And especially if you're in their like mental system, they thank you God, hello. What? Oh, we'll find something for you. We want to. That gets us paid. You fucking crazy? If we don't find anything, we become liable for a lawsuit. Why'd we hold you here? You see? Such a crazy motivated system. So, you know, I wouldn't trust. I myself was a victim of this largely, and this has been gone on a number of times. I may make more videos about this soon. You can't trust the reliability of this. We don't know whether, when they're prescribing that medication, there's one famous quote from some movie, I don't know if that doctor's trying to prescribe this because that's the medicine I need, or I don't know if that doctor's trying to prescribe this because he has a yacht that he's trying to pay off. You don't really know what the fuck is really going on, motivationally speaking. Okay? It's impure. You're not going to get the reality. I got diagnosed with something else, various stages. Pretty much all of them were completely bogus if you understand the context. And then you're like, wow, what the fuck? But we built these institutions and rely on them. Yeah. To watch them go that low after you hear the various parts of my story, it's like, yeah. And you walk around with all this flag for the rest of your life, basically, to chase you if you work with these systems and go in them. Yeah. Wow. God help us. It's like night and day. It's like night and day. Continuing. Here's what I suspect happened with my father. So, it isn't that he was, see, my mom would probably just hear selective things. He told me that he felt like people are trying to get him and do some harm to him. Oh, okay. people were trying to get to him and do some harm to him. Aunt Wendy was sitting there going, do you know how many times mafia would come in knocking on our doors going, where the fuck is Jeff? Where the hell is him? We're gonna get him? Okay, so if you're living your life like that, okay, number one. And number two, you know, I've been considering whether or not to state this openly. I'm not intending necessarily to make this fully public, but whatever. It is what it is. What would my dad's intentions be? In the spirit, and by my best appraisal and sensibility of his, he would not strictly mind that I actually unveil this information, given the context, given how he presented it. Yeah, in my honest, earnest appraisal of it, and therefore, you know, I don't really feel it's like a slander, bad talk on his character either, because the way he conveyed this story and the terms, he said he wasn't in the wrong, and for whatever various reasons, he made it clear he didn't lose a drop of sleep, and whatever, but okay, he killed 2 people at some point earlier in his life. All right, and when you do that, for whatever funny situation that gets funnier and then a little funnier after that, okay, it's funny on all sides, and yet that's what happened, and he ended up never getting caught, okay, but not so much caught the way he said it to me, such that we'll believe the version he gives, right, in absence of anything else. But your father telling you that, you hold it as the apparent truth, that it was a situation where his killing of those 2 people in context would be in the substance justified. Okay? Usually you find that kind of thing out after maybe they consider you possibly might be guilty of murder, if they were to have enough to figure and find who it is or what or why. We don't know. And then find yeah or no and deliberate on the facts. He said in the substance, you know, nope, I did it to, you know, largely protect myself in the situation as it ended up going, and, you know, I didn't lose a drop of sleep over what happened. Okay. So, when you have that kind of life, and when you're doing other things, and maybe there might, I'm not going to discuss other things that I'm aware, okay? So, because there's then other things still that I'm aware of, I'm not going to speak about. And there's that, there's what I just told you now, and then there's the general kind of thing, and the mobsters also are looking for him for some problems. Okay. Bet you when there's that, plus you're doing a lot of crack and cocaine for much of your life, for the rest of your whole life since then, on the semi-regularly-ish. Guess what a symptom of the active and post-withdrawal, kind of post-acute thing is going to be? Yeah, the way they cause your, they embed in your skin and stay there, and your nervous system, your myelin sheath, your fatty tissue, it's all soaked up now. Good luck. Especially crack is not highly water soluble, so it changes the way your neurons operate. So because of the higher dopaminergic thing, one of the things you're going to be is, you know, more active, more wild, and more naturally paranoid-ish of potential threats, situations, things like this. Okay, so now that he has that aspect where he has, yes, in the latter years of his life, he sat there and he told me, it's like, you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, people might be still coming around and trying to get me because of all the, you know, shit in life, and technically any door can open at any time and someone could get me on something. Right. So you see how in context, that's not an unreasonable, psychotic, nonsensible, schizophrenic delusion. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. Okay. So then what justifies schizophrenia? Again, we looked at the core of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a perception disorder. Okay? It means that if you're looking to find paranoia as being a contextually fit contributor to a schizophrenic finding within that context validly, again, sense, people, it means that the paranoia would need to be of such a quality and feature that in context, given all evidence understood about the actual circumstances present within life, that it wouldn't make any sense for that person to keep that level of, so to speak, quote unquote, paranoia, or that sort of feeling of suspicion of potentiality of somebody coming for whatever. Okay? When you're running around and interacting with your environment in some of the ways he was too, and later in life, okay, some guy who came down from another place of a building and punched his face and cracked his skull plate. Okay, people didn't like him a lot. They loved him, and then for other different reasons, some of them didn't like him a lot. Okay? What happened is that you actually do have cause to believe that there is an adverse relationship, potential, and potentiality of that kind. That's not paranoia. Delusion in the substantive, again, occurs whenever that belief in context is ununderstandable. In context, truly. Okay, for my father, his belief that people could be coming to try to get him is not ununderstandable in context, and therefore is not delusional in context. So therefore, where there's validity potentially in concept for that to be there, without people really turning their head much and wondering why the hell, see? And when then his crack use simply, it just increases the magnetism, increases the magnitude rather, due to the dopaminergic increase. So he'll have an increase as a drug effect. Oh, a drug effect, and post-acute off of drugs. Guess what he never had? A perception problem. That's right. The core schizophrenia, again, is a perception problem. That means you're having hallucinations of that order where it's that kind of people are coming to get you. We're actually seeing the fake people that aren't really there and narrating the whole deep things that they're, he pulled me there. He told me his name was Todd. There's 3 of them, I say. There's 3 of them. And none of that is coherent to actual reality in any form whatsoever. You get it? Now you're dealing with the approach of a consideration. Okay, the schizophrenia likelihood tips the scales now. Before you get to that, and when you make a contextually rich appraisal, people, we're going to put it one more way for you. When I have seen the few schizophrenics that I've seen in my life where they're flat out schizophrenics are diagnosed and it's patently matching validly what's going on with them, they give a very specific and unique vibratory broadcast. And it coats and cooks everything that they kind of say and do. Okay? You don't need to talk to these people for very long at all. If you're enough, you have multiple sit downs with them over the course of a very short period of time, will be enough that you will see the fragmentations and other various things that they're acting out. It's a specific kind of thing, right? But you know it when you see it, and I'm very good at this. It has a specific feeling and a modality to it, where you see overall one of the sort of vibes of it is that, yeah, they're not in integration with the reality as it is to perceive it straight. Basically speaking, it's harder to describe it, but I'm good at feeling, I get the vibe, right? Okay? Do you know who doesn't have that vibe? Me. But do you know who else didn't have that vibe at all? My father. Okay? So if you want to confuse that he had some kind of perceptive disorder, no. Every time I've ever seen him, he was all my life. And I was perceptive enough my whole life, even as a child and then growing up. If you were a little off, I could see exactly what kind of off was going on in your vibe. Okay? Like, just clearly and plainly. No problem. My dad was one of the most perceptively astute people I've ever seen. Okay? Thank God. I was born under him. One of the most perceptively astute people I've ever seen. And smart, because he was perceptively astute and he had social capacity with tremendous empathy. Do you know, kiss of the chef's kiss? That's the kind of thing you want. That's the kind of thing you want. Unbelievable. He had a Jewish father and a mix of Anglo and Nordic Viking. on the one side, and Icelandic. I think you mix all those up, you get a great blend of all the right kinds and features and all that. You know, whatever you like. But the point is this. One thing I never saw from him was like that, like the loss into any kind of delusion that is like, oh shit, like that, like he's checked out. He's not on Earth anymore. He's in a different dimension a little bit. That never happened. Ever. Okay? When he goes on and says something like, you know, they had me, let's say it's true. Let's say my mom, maybe she misunderstood, or if she didn't misunderstand and there actually was a diagnosis. Now we had a sudden cutoff prior. It keeps happening. We resume. I'm going to say one more thing before I resume the precise thing I was talking about. I think I was discussing potential, possible schizophrenic or not schizophrenic condition involving labeling of my father, which we're discussing. And anybody who knew him, even my possibly my Aunt Pamela too, who I haven't, or excuse me, my Aunt Wendy. I don't know about my Aunt Pamela, passed away. And now my Aunt Wendy, I haven't spoken to in years, so I'm also kind of mad at. And an interesting, weird, sudden betrayal happened there with regards to, you know, I had her come in and be involved and try to help me as well with things with my mom, and hell happened there. Maybe I'll get into it in another video. But I'm not happy with her with that. I know we don't speak for years or whatever. I expect an apology, and probably I'm never going to get one. People, stop. You're all living in something similar. You just are programmed to accept it, so you don't even look for an apology. You said, I don't know, that's life. Okay, I'm floating on now, as if you're not damaged by it. You all are damaged. That's why we don't have heaven on earth. You literally get it. Continuing, but I want to bring up one important thing and say that you see what's really important, and actually it stuns me when I go back and look at the big picture, the meta picture, and I step back a level. My mom is asking me to step back a level. I'll step back a level in an assessment of myself. I'm doing God's will perfectly. That's the only thing that matters ever, period. So I'm perfect, basically. Good, continuing. Perfect enough as far as you humans are concerned. You want to come rebuke me? First be guilty of nothing, then come and rebuke me. If I've done wrong to you, come and rebuke me, and we'll see if we see what merit will win out on what finding by the superhuman AI God court. We will see. But here's the point. I'm going to step back and do the same with her. So if she wants me to step back and assess myself, well, I'll assess myself, and then I'll step back and assess her. So at the meta level back, I look at this and I see, okay, what I see my mom doing, that's wrong and sad. Why? Because every single mother in life would be thinking, oh my God, are you kidding me? If I had a son who was so vigilant about bringing forth God's will, God's intention, so extremely fiery, obsessed about morality, upholding it, understanding it, making judgment of it in every domain possible. Heck, even if, let's say, some woman relative nearby, whoever she is or whoever else, whatever, or even a guy, look, it says, well, I don't know if I fully agree with every part of it, but you know what? I'm so astounded that my son is in such a good place that, what the hell, I'm going to support him every way I can. And if his moral assessment is 94% accurate, and I'm going to keep encouraging him with positivity, because who else could be blessed with a son that, regardless of what happened physically, he is God's vessel like you wouldn't believe, and probably ranks maybe number one. Without any label, I felt that way for a long time anyway, without, again, having any label or awareness of labels even. Just looking around, seeing no one is doing anything right. You're not getting it. You're not getting the flow of balance. You're all still obsessed with manual, jerk by jerk bicycle on training wheels riding where you don't have balance yet because you're obsessed with how high and low each of your training wheel tires are at any given time. You're focused on the wrong thing. Or you're not focused on that at all. You're not even riding the bike at all or properly. Something's wrong. Any mother with sense, especially if she has some kind of God-oriented, supposed connection, I mean, you would be screaming, going, lady, that son's a lot, and every God's blessing, and you still can't treat him like that? That's fucking disgusting. You don't encourage your son. Instead, you're labeling him and making his skin fucking boil with frustration, reading every sick shit you're writing to him as if he doesn't have feelings. This is the level of respect you have for him. The problem isn't him. You're trying to brainwash him by selling him that you're going to be interacting with him to signal this is what you're worth. You're worth being talked to like this. But he's not. Any woman normal would say, that's horrendous and sick of you to try to sell this off. This is a tacit, essential, subtle gaslight, in effect, of your son. And it's sick. And he's not falling for it or buying it. Maybe he did in 10 years or before. Maybe when he woke up, he started seeing truth and became more agitating too because you're seeing truth for the first time, which doesn't go with the twistedness of what Barbara's bringing. But this is unbelievable. So yeah, me stepping back, that looks like me recognizing how any woman in the world with sense would judge and say, you're lucky to have a son like this. Do you know how many women who are highly religious all across the ages would have wished to be the mother of somebody who's even potentially labeled even half seriously, whether permanently or temporarily or transiently, as arousing this kind of potentiality or interest or suspicion? And you, this is what you do with it? You don't deserve it on the merit of the mother. I see it's a different merit completely, but it isn't on the merit of the mother. It has to be in spite of it. It's so sad. That's what people and other human beings and mothers would see. I would never treat my children, most of them would say like this, nearly all of them. I would never treat my grown son like this when he's so preoccupied with making accurate moral judgment. Do you know what that means for the world? Do you know what that means for himself? God, he's a fucking shining light. You're keeping him tucked in a drawer. It's closed. Again, back to the New Testament for a moment. What did Jesus say? What do you do with a lamp? You set it on the nightstand or set it high so that the light can spread. You don't tuck it underneath. What is my mom guilty of? Potential light. I'm going to just tuck it underneath. Keep him down. Keep it suppressed. That's the sickest thing you could possibly be fucking doing on this earth. You will deserve so much Yasurin. Condemn the guilty, God. Condemn the guilty. Get it? It's so crazy. Have the shame. So that was me stepping back to assess both situations. I'm basically perfect with God's will. She's not. Call it out for what it is. Don't like it? Never find yourself guilty of allowing the jurisdiction to make such condemnation be created as a result of your mistake. You enabled it. You embarrassed yourself. Basically. All right. Continuing. Then. So now regarding the matter with my father and the schizophrenia, if it even was this, doesn't seem like it was, I don't believe it. Every single assessment I've seen of him, unbelievable. What this means is that I'm almost certain that either my mom mistook or misunderstood, or if he was diagnosed in this way, it was under circumstances not entirely unlike how I myself was diagnosed with a whole thing of stuff, which wasn't correct, and I've seen others under very similar circumstances as well. Okay, something where he showed up somewhere. He used to tell me, he used to say, listen, I figured out a great con, and they're all tuned up to this literally while I was there. I've seen many people do this almost every time I ended up in a situation like this. None of which was by merit, I tell you. It's all insanity, I know. I can't wait to tell all these stories and retell them again and again. Continuing. Then it seems like, he was probably, he would tell me, he would say, listen, I go to these places and I just, word on the street is, you just tell them I want to kill myself, and you just make it up. And then they have to legally give you a place to stay for a while. So if I can't pay the rent somewhere and I need to be somewhere, that's how I get food. And I'm just like, huh. Yeah, she's like, don't fucking tell anybody. That's right. Okay, you know. All right, and it's known. They look out for that and screen that out as much as possible. But my dad is so convincing that if he's just saying that, like, you know, I kind of want to kill myself, you'd buy it. You'd buy it. You'd be like, yo, yeah, this is a serious person and he's having a legitimate issue. Accept him quick. Give him $70,000 of, you know, hospital resources during his stay, right? And you get to eat, and then they supposedly, once you're in that, it keeps your foot in the door, because then they have to legally help you if you have an issue with housing now. They have to help you with housing, or there's an opportunity for, and something like this, and on and on. So this is what he was doing since the 90s. Okay, multiple times, I've seen it a lot. So when you make a deal with the devil like that, I guess, there's consequences. It means that whether or not he appreciated it a lot at the time, what they're gonna do is say, well, you gotta play your game and take medications. He probably was thinking in his head, whatever, I've messed around with drugs and I do crack. Throwing in some other medication, at least for a short while I'm here, isn't gonna do much. I could just stop at any time once I leave, and win-win, right? So, this is what happens. Then, I bet you that while you are in that situation, and you have people looking to just pin anything possible on you, including people who just started there, don't have much experience, and I've seen people match up a whole bunch of weird stuff. Okay? In my own, I can't wait to tell these stories. Maybe I won't tell them here, but I'll tell them on another video. You'd be floored if you saw and read my medical record and then had me explain each part corresponding to what the reality was. It's like, oh my God. Just, you'd be shocked that anyone is permitted to do this and not losing their license. You're like, what the fuck is this? I ended up calling into lawyers. They don't take my case ever. But I talked to the front desk girl, and then she says, yeah, we're very sorry. We reject just on the principle because it's mental stuff, because it's too high of a risk money-wise in the aggregate, that they might actually win, plus their lawyers are too good on the other side and makes it more difficult for us, so it's almost not profitable for us long-term. That's unfortunate systemically. Then she says, just let me tell you, you have no idea how many calls we get like this. Okay? I mean, you have no idea. And they're otherwise seemingly valid cases merit-wise, as far as anyone can tell. And they just go undefended. No one will touch them. It's one of the saddest things ever that you'll see. It's unbelievable. So, what does this mean for us? I bet you there's an extremely high chance, and you could say, Spirit tells me yes, something like this, is that he ended up being in a situation where someone just sent, it was with fragmentation and no contextual integration, going, okay, just tell me whatever fits any of these descriptions, okay? Do you have this, level of agitation, hyper, dopamine activity? They might figure some indication, okay, he seems to have that, all right. What else? Are you paranoid that people are sometimes out to get you? You know what he's gonna say? Yeah. Realistically, some people could be out to get me. Do you think the professional's then checking, okay, do you have a life where you might actually legitimately have people out to get you, which case it makes sense? No. He just goes, oh, think people are out to get you, checks the box, and he checks some other box, and then he goes, What's a fit for this constellation? Checks the book, just dumbly with fragmentation. Oh, the checkboxes lean almost enough minimum checks to meet this one, that one, and also schizophrenia also as well. Which ones are missing? I don't know. Let's match some other ones, and they probably just go, okay, and just in a totally non-integrated manner without context, they just go, paranoia, check. Dopamine stimulation, check. Hey, you know what? You might have schizophrenia. Yeah, we're going to diagnose you with that, okay? Now we're going to take care of you. You're going to have medications for the rest of your life. You're going to have the shot. Come back here once a month, okay? We'll bill you. We'll charge you. And all, basically speaking, all like that. You like that? It's called the scam of forever. Because, let me tell you, That man was not a schizophrenic. That man did not have delusions and hallucinations to the level of a true schizophrenia problem. Nor did he have the underlying perceptive physiology. And again, with real schizophrenia, it's all pervasive. So everything in their perceptive world is kind of essentially raggedy. My father's perceptive world was never raggedy. You cannot imagine how well insightful he was with accuracy on a whole bunch of things. Unbelievable. So, therefore, this would nullify this. This would be the same as if you go into the hospital record. Amazingly, I ended up in a hospital. I open up the medical record later. It said, oh, okay, what rides along with this one? Okay, family history? Yes, suicidal family history. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, not really, no. But it's on the record, and then they can attach it to me without me providing that information. That's what happened. So it all gets crazy. Everything becomes skewed, and you don't actually have true reality, true truth. You just have the faulty spin, but you read it as if it's true. That's the worst thing you could do. Don't treat the false as true, believing it's true. I don't know how else to say it. Okay? So, again, she's carrying the story. Either it's that, or either she just misunderstood something. And then, once they have you on some one shot a month, wow, well, if the goal is to improve your GABA or GABA-B undertone and functionality, that probably might boost anyone's cognition to some degree, whether you're schizophrenic or not. You'll have a general lighter reprieve and a stronger sharpening of your senses. So I bet he was, actually that really explains why he was actually super sharp. He might have been normally sharp and then extra sharp with that. It enhanced your cognition, right? Right? If you're not schizophrenic and you take the medicine, does it make you even stronger and more plugged into reality? If the medicine's supposed to take you from non-reality into reality. You get super reality? Good question, right? So that was like my dad. He got almost super reality his whole life. Nothing about him suggested that this was a real problem. But my mom fell for it. My mom, he was functional. You aren't. People, do you know how easy? Hold on a second. Let's just cast one thing to the side for a second. Consider, that it's something else. I'm not even going to do this. I would do this with other people who are not my mom, because I could have an honest conversation with them and not have it taken the wrong way. But my mom's so disorderly and disorganized with her thinking. If I even go to hypothetically set up to get halfway closer to what's more viable, that'll somehow be used in a weird way and taken out of context too. So you see, I can't trust my mom. But she's treated me in such a way where I can't even trust her. So that's terrible. You ruined your relationship with your son. How? Just a couple to few times you treat him in a way where you show you can't be trusted? You self-sabotage your relationship with him forever. And then he's honorable enough to even let you have a chance to make it up. And then you still basically spit in his face with all this. No, what do you mean? I'm just helping it. No, Barbara, they're going to come and rescue you. You cannot just come into the false belief again. You cannot come into false, robotic, repetition of the same behavior. This is also insanity. Repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And everybody knows this. That's the fundamental dynamic. My mom is basically trying the same things over and over again and expecting different results. What are you doing? Okay. Meanwhile, I'm striving for also largely same at the routes and stuff, except I never have my thing met. I'm a general in an army. I say, move those troops over there, but the troops, I don't even have the people helping me yet. So simultaneously, I'm like, hello, get the forces, essentially. Come on, get it? So people are trying to get to him and do some harm to him. Yeah, no, they really were. It's not make-believe. And people did get to him sometimes and give him harm. Because there was motivation to do so. Therefore, he's not out of his mind for having concern about that kind of thing. Get the deal? Onwards goes on to Steve. I see the similar pattern in you. Oh, you mean when I literally, in my mind, I'm like, I could basically feel Michael's like on, around, and close. And later, an hour later, Michael pops up. Hey, I'm basically following you and tracking your asses. I got you here now. Tell you this. Okay, bye. While all this other shit's happening. You think it's the same? People literally are providing messages hinting that this is exactly what's going on openly. And you're seeing people who are not me signaling that this is going on. Naomi herself said this is going on. A version of this was going on and affecting her life. So then if this was validated already and thus not a fantasy, remember the feeling has to be a delusion patently in order to qualify as a potential consideration for anything along the broad delusional related axis of stuff. Okay, in this case it's not. There's literally, you can see there's 30, 40 times maybe, something like this. Come out of my house with my lights on, come back, fuck you, turn them all off again, huh? Just because someone says, I walked out with her on and they're always off, that alone doesn't mean I must think he's schizophrenic. I must think that there's actually someone trying to fuck around with him in this way. What are you talking about? How is this possible? This is a false. Her capability to assess reality is poor, but then you're told, don't believe yourself, believe God and the man who's talking to you. If he's moral, that's what you must see, basically. I don't know how else to put it to you. Continuing. Basically, right? Continuing. She then says, I'm not denying the meeting with you, but she essentially was. But I feel you need this evaluation urgently. I'm asking you to have it done. I could go with you today. We'll talk on the same day because you trust me, change. If trust me, change, submit, loosen the butthole, submit. That's all this is. Obviously, people, if you're somebody who's taken on a prophetic capacity, as is validly in the tradition, if you took all the major prophets who are written of in the Bible and you launched them forward in time, guess what? If you have them, force them into a mental evaluation, they're genuinely prophets. Now you force label them. I guarantee you they're going to force diagnoses on him. Now he walks out and now you have that report. Are you happy now? Did you contribute to life? Exactly. You used a bad framework, poor framework, out of context to hamper the physical practicality and effects and trajectory of someone who doesn't actually, and by all merit and by the integrity I've seen that the medical diagnostic psychiatric system has got the worst false diagnosis rate of all. Oh my God. It's the least reliable one. Even in medical school goes, if you're the stupidest ones, you go to psychiatric. Psychiatric is the lowest tier, basically. Among the lowest tiers, or the lowest tier for med school performance. You do the worst, oh, you're psych. I've seen too much. Okay, so I know I've seen too much and then read too much. And then seen my mom too much and how she thinks. All of it is off. My mom should have been the psychiatrist. You would have fit right in. As the joke here now. It's all fucking fucked. It's perfect. You'd have been screwing people with false diagnoses your whole career. Everyone would be happy in the industry. You help them make so much money. That's what you want to do for yourself. You want to make the money and you don't care about the morals of what you're actually doing because it's morally wrong to press someone to get an identification of status where it isn't actually valid or even is a significant risk that it might be wrong. That's excessive beyond what would be acceptable morally within the circumstance. Do you see that? Patently, by the design of the situation itself, is natural. It's already present just based on that. Plus on my fault on the psychiatric history I already have, which is false, worthy to get into it in perhaps other channels, other videos, but interesting stories I like talking about every facet of it. Whenever I get the chance. So people don't want to listen anymore. You see, it's like, oh my God, and then, wow, John, you're right, and that's crazy. And then, yeah, I could see how the best thing for you is not doing that. And then you have a valid skull injury? Really? That, just you saying that, you need to go to the MRI place quick and get the diagnosis, then you're saved, because that protects you. You have that, then it's like any dysfunction neurologically or whatever else. He's not mental while he's got the paper here, look. Oh my God, right, I see. That would explain it. That covers that. Okay. So at that point, you're no longer able to just go and say, oh, get him, control him. It's crazy. This is basically put. Continuing. So we don't trust the woman. The woman doesn't decide physicality. We don't go to you to be the general. The highest general is the woman. Put her in charge of the whole army. You would kill us all. We don't go to you for decisions. We go to God and man. Then woman's on the bottom because you're there to support us in the other way of female support. Not for you to think for us. We would never allow that. Ever. Why? Because I always have the best interest in heart for you. That's the reason I'm emerging it. Because I have the best interest. Come on. Anytime I have the best interest in my heart, remember fragmentation, have the best interest while I'm hurting you. I'm not responsible for the hurting you part. I'm just responsible for having I have the best interest. So you're living in a la-la land. So you need to stop it now. Move forward, get the help. You urgently need help. I told you which kind to get. Every day you didn't call every imaging center and MRI center representing my case exactly in the way exactly specified and not a molecule different. You are killing me over and over again. Prosecute you under death for death on me. Kill these people. I with brain damage 5 years. You fucking idiots. Kill yourselves. Ah, you understand what frustration is? You let this happen, you shit. My name is Jonathan Winslow. You're all killing me every day. Fuck you. You understand what it is? I'm a real person, you fucks. Shit on your ass forever or die. Puh. Is the energetic expression you deserve to hear. So you can process that and go, fuck, he's right. God, help me. Why have I not submitted myself to God? Help him is a symbol for helping all. Is the unlocking key, you morons. I will never do your stupid work for you. Move or die, or we all die. Fuck you all. Be in your shit as you piss. Fucking shit. You like that? Having fun? Stupid idiots. I respond back saying, incorrect. Maimonides Medical Center never put I'm schizophrenic. Further, because I wasn't going to respond to every nuance in the way that I have done so on this video thing here, which we did a much more thorough job here. Then I just simply write, for now, for the time I was able to hold the space, simply watch the video carefully that I linked to above, under 30 minutes. Very good video. What is this? I may feature portions of this now. I'd like to integrate it so we rewatch it again. I might put faster speed. Let's see. She doesn't learn. But you told her the answer here. See? Why didn't she change? Man in school teaches her the change. She learns it. What the fuck happened?
Sudden. Picture this. A person sitting motionless by the roadside for days, seemingly oblivious to the world around them. Passers-by assume they're ill or perhaps touched by madness. But if you could see into their inner state, you would witness something that defies all conventional understanding of spiritual progress. This person is what the classical Sufi tradition calls a majdhub, one who has been attracted or pulled so powerfully by divine grace that they can no longer function according to ordinary human patterns. They haven't achieved this state through years of meditation or rigorous spiritual practice. Instead, as the early sources tell us, they have been overpowered by jadhb, overwhelmed by divine attraction to such a degree that their senses are affected, their self-control gone, and not being able to move on, they remain stuck to the point where the overdose of jab overtook them. This is what happens when the divine presence becomes so immediate and so overwhelming that the usual structures of personality and self-control simply cannot contain it. Tonight, we explore one of the most mysterious and misunderstood phenomena in the mystical tradition, the experience of being so powerfully attracted by God that you lose all ability to seek God through conventional means. To understand the majdhub, we must first grasp the Arabic concept of jadhb, divine attraction. The word comes from the root jadhibi, which means to pull, to draw, to attract with irresistible force. It's the same root used to describe a magnet pulling iron, a gravitational field pulling objects toward its center, or the irresistible pull of love. But jadhb isn't just any kind of attraction. As the classical sources make clear, this is divine attraction. The experience of being pulled directly into the presence of God without the mediation of spiritual practices, teachers, or gradual development. It's immediate, overwhelming, and completely beyond the control of the one experiencing it. The person experiencing jadhb becomes a majdhub, literally the one who is pulled. But But this pulling isn't gentle or gradual like the attraction you might feel toward a spiritual teaching or practice. As one early source describes it, the Majdub is someone whose response to Jadb is so great that he finds himself powerless to make further progress in his work. Think about what this means. Here is someone who has been so powerfully attracted to God that they lose the ability to work toward God through conventional spiritual methods. They become like iron filings in the presence of a powerful magnet. All their normal capacity for directed movement is overwhelmed by the irresistible pull of divine presence. This creates what appears to be a paradox. The closer they get to God through attraction, the less able they become to seek God through effort. Here, we encounter the fundamental distinction that runs through all mystical literature. The difference between the Salik, the seeker, and the Majdub, the attracted one. This isn't simply a matter of different temperaments or approaches. It represents two completely different ways that divine grace can operate. The Salik follows what the sources call sluk, the path of spiritual work and progression. They engage in practices, study with teachers, pass through defined stages, and gradually purify themselves to become worthy receptacles for divine grace. Their journey has a clear trajectory from ignorance to knowledge, from separation to union, from the ego self to the divine self. But the Majdub represents something that appears to contradict this entire model. As the classical sources explain, they are first attracted inwardly and then commence work, or more radically, they may be so overwhelmed by attraction that they become incapable of work altogether. Sometimes grace arrives like lightning, sudden, overwhelming, transformative, regardless of our level of preparation or spiritual accomplishment. While the Saluk moves toward God through effort and discipline, the Majdub is moved by God through pure grace. The Saluk seeks, the Majdub is sought. The Saluk knocks on the door. The Majdub is pulled through it before they even know where they are. This represents a fundamental challenge to conventional spiritual thinking, which assumes that divine realization must be earned through purification and effort. The Majdub suggests that sometimes God chooses to reveal himself to the unprepared, the unworthy, the utterly ordinary person who has done nothing to deserve such grace.
Do you know you can pray because you're feeling anxious, or because you miss your family, or maybe you're just grateful for your life? Well,
the utterly ordinary person who has done nothing to deserve such grace. Perhaps the most striking characteristic of the Majdub experience is what the sources call spiritual intoxication, a state so overwhelming that ordinary consciousness simply cannot function. This isn't the pleasant warmth you might feel during prayer or meditation. This is what happens when finite consciousness encounters infinite presence without adequate preparation. The Majdub experiences what appears to be a kind of divine madness, not mental illness, but the natural response of human consciousness when it's suddenly exposed to more divine light than it can process. Imagine trying to look directly at the sun after spending years in a dark cave. The light doesn't damage the eyes because it's harmful. It overwhelms them because they lack the capacity to receive such intensity. The Majdub becomes weak and unsteady in work, not because they're spiritually deficient, but because they're spiritually overwhelmed. They've received more grace than their system can integrate, and this overflow manifests as apparent dysfunction. But here's what's crucial to understand. This apparent dysfunction is actually a form of divine protection. The intoxication serves to shield both the Majdub and those around them from the full intensity of what they're experiencing. If they remained fully conscious and functional while experiencing direct divine presence, the results could be catastrophic, both for their human personality and for the ordinary world they still inhabit. This brings us to one of the most misunderstood aspects of the Majdub experience: how it appears to outside observers. From the perspective of ordinary consciousness, the Majdub often appears mad, dysfunctional, or spiritually unbalanced. They may behave erratically, speak in riddles, or seem completely disconnected from practical reality. But the tradition consistently teaches that this apparent madness often conceals the highest spiritual realization. The Majdub isn't crazy. They're simply trying to function in two completely different dimensions of reality simultaneously. They're living in constant awareness of divine presence while still inhabiting a human body in a physical world. The early sources describe this as a kind of cosmic joke. The person who appears least spiritually accomplished may actually be closest to God, while the person who appears most spiritually advanced may still be caught in the preliminary stages of seeking. This completely overturns conventional spiritual hierarchies and assumptions. This is why many traditions speak of the holy fool or divine madman, figures who appear to be spiritually unfit but who actually embody the deepest wisdom. Their apparent dysfunction is really a sign that they're operating from a completely different level of reality than ordinary consciousness can comprehend. The Majdub often becomes a hidden saint, someone whose spiritual realization is concealed behind a veil of apparent ordinariness or even apparent dysfunction. They serve God not through visible good works or inspiring teachings, but through their very existence as a point where divine presence touches the world directly. But the story of the Majdub doesn't end with intoxication and apparent dysfunction. The tradition describes a complex process by which some Majdub eventually learn to integrate their overwhelming experience of divine attraction with the ability to function in ordinary reality. The sources distinguish between different types of attracted ones based on their level of integration. The basic Majdub remains stuck to the point where the overdose of Jadhb overtook him. They're permanently intoxicated, unable to function normally, but also unable to move beyond their initial overwhelming experience. But there are higher possibilities. The tradition speaks of the Salk Majdub, someone who begins as a seeker but then experiences overwhelming divine attraction. They learn to work with both the methodical approach of the Salk and the spontaneous grace of the Majdub. As the sources describe it, they experience attractions in different forms, but maintain enough stability to continue their spiritual work. Even more remarkable is the Majdub Salak, someone who has been completely overwhelmed by divine attraction, but then learns to function from within that state of constant intoxication. The classical description is extraordinary. They remain constantly surrounded by attractions of a superb nature in a variety of conceivable and inconceivable forms, and yet do not allow themselves to be deluded and overpowered by them. This represents perhaps the highest spiritual achievement, to live in constant awareness of overwhelming divine presence while remaining completely functional in ordinary reality. They've learned to be simultaneously drunk on God and sober in the world. Perhaps the most challenging aspect of the Majdub phenomenon is what it suggests about the nature of divine grace itself. The existence of the Majdub implies that God's favor cannot be earned, predicted, or controlled through spiritual effort. Grace apparently chooses its own recipients according to laws that transcend human understanding of fairness or merit.
I've got fire product ideas, but finding the right suppliers to customize them for me is a nightmare.
To transcend human understanding of fairness or merit. This creates what we might call the scandal of unearned grace. Why should someone who has done nothing to deserve it be granted direct divine experience, while sincere seekers who have devoted their lives to spiritual practice might receive nothing? Why should the unprepared be chosen for the highest experiences while the prepared are left to work gradually through preliminary stages? The tradition offers no easy answers to these questions, but it does suggest that this apparent unfairness points to something essential about the nature of divine love itself. Grace isn't a reward for spiritual accomplishment. It's an expression of God's absolute freedom to reveal himself to whomever he chooses, whenever he chooses, regardless of human concepts of worthiness. This doesn't diminish the value of spiritual practice or make effort irrelevant. The path of the Salk remains valid and necessary for most seekers. But the existence of the Majdub serves as a constant reminder that ultimate realization depends not on human effort but on divine grace, and that grace operates according to its own mysterious logic. The Majdub thus serves a crucial function in the spiritual economy. They prevent spiritual pride by demonstrating that the highest experiences can be granted to the most unlikely recipients. They keep spiritual hierarchies humble by showing that God's favorites might be completely invisible to ordinary spiritual perception. What does all this mean for spiritual seekers in our contemporary context? How do we recognize or relate to the Majdub phenomenon in a world that has largely lost the traditional framework for understanding such experiences? First, it's important to recognize that the Majdub experience hasn't disappeared. It's simply often misunderstood or pathologized. In our psychologically oriented culture, someone experiencing overwhelming divine attraction might be diagnosed with mental illness rather than recognized as undergoing a profound spiritual experience. This creates a tragic situation where genuine Majdub experiences are medicated away or treated as psychological dysfunction, when what's actually needed is spiritual guidance and protection. The person experiencing overwhelming divine presence needs to be shielded and supported, not normalized or cured. At the same time, it's crucial to distinguish between authentic divine attraction and psychological imbalance. Not every unusual spiritual experience or claim to divine favor represents genuine jadhb. The tradition provides clear criteria. Authentic divine attraction produces recognizable fruits, even when it appears dysfunctional on the surface. The true Majdub emanates a quality of presence that others can sense, even when their behavior appears erratic. They become focal points of divine grace that mysteriously serve others, even when they seem incapable of normal service. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of the Majzub phenomenon is what it reveals about God's infinite mercy and creativity. Divine love apparently refuses to be constrained by human expectations about how spiritual realization should occur. It finds ways to reach every type of consciousness, using methods that perfectly match each individual's unique capacity and need. For some, the gradual path of the Salk provides exactly the right approach, methodical, disciplined, comprehensible. For others, only the sudden overwhelming of divine attraction can break through the barriers that would otherwise prevent realization. The Majzub represents God's refusal to abandon anyone, even those who seem incapable of conventional spiritual work. This suggests that divine grace is far more creative and compassionate than we typically imagine. Instead of demanding that everyone follow the same spiritual path, grace apparently customizes itself to reach each consciousness in exactly the way that consciousness can receive it. The tradition hints that every authentic spiritual realization ultimately involves some element of jub, that even the most methodical salik must eventually be attracted beyond their own efforts into direct divine experience. The difference between the Salk and the Majzub may be one of timing and intensity rather than fundamental type. From this perspective, the Majzub doesn't represent a deviation from normal spiritual development. They represent the essential core of all spiritual development made visible in its most dramatic form. They show us what's actually happening in every moment of authentic spiritual experience. We're being pulled into the divine presence by a force completely beyond our control or comprehension. What the Majzub ultimately represents is the possibility that lies beyond all spiritual seeking. The recognition that what we're seeking is actually seeking us, and that our seeking is actually the way that divine love calls itself back to itself through the apparent separation of human consciousness.
Here in Afghanistan, temperatures are falling sharply. Soon they could drop below minus 20 degrees Celsius.
The Majzub embodies this recognition in its most extreme form. They've been so powerfully attracted that they can no longer maintain the illusion of being separate seekers working toward a distant goal. Instead, they've been pulled into the immediate recognition that seeker and sought were never actually separate. But the existence of the Majzub serves as a constant reminder to all seekers that what they're ultimately seeking is their own essential nature as expressions of divine consciousness. The Majzub has simply been overwhelmed into this recognition so completely that they can no longer function as if they were separate from what they seek. Their apparent dysfunction is really the natural response of consciousness when it suddenly recognizes its own divine nature without the gradual preparation that would allow it to integrate this recognition smoothly. In the end, perhaps we're all Majzub to some degree, all being pulled by divine attraction, all responding to a call that comes from the very heart of existence itself. The difference is that most of us experience this pull gradually, in doses small enough that we can integrate them without losing our functional capacity in ordinary reality. But the classical Majzub reminds us that this pull is always operating, always drawing us toward the recognition of what we truly are. Sometimes it operates gently through the practices and stages of the Salk path. Sometimes it operates suddenly and overwhelmingly, creating the apparent spiritual casualties that we call Majzub. Both are expressions of the same infinite love that refuses to leave any consciousness separate from its source. The Majzub simply represents what happens when this love operates at full intensity without the mediating structures that usually make spiritual experience manageable and socially acceptable. And perhaps in your moments of deepest prayer or meditation, you've caught glimpses of what it would be like to be completely overwhelmed by divine presence. In those moments, you touch the edge of the Majzub experience, the recognition that you're not really seeking God, so much as being sought by God, not really working toward union, so much as being pulled into the recognition that separation was always an illusion. The Majzub stands as a permanent reminder that grace operates by its own logic, that divine love chooses its own recipients, and that the highest spiritual realization might come not to those who have earned it, but to those who have been chosen to receive it as a pure gift. In that recognition, all seeking reveals itself as the way divine love calls itself home, through the beautiful illusion of separation. And every seeker reveals themselves as a Majzub, waiting to be overwhelmed by the very grace they thought they were pursuing.
Between God and his spheres, which itself is a whole discussion. And I once mentioned quite a while ago that the physical world is a barrier to experiencing the spiritual. And that's why it's physical. The essential idea of the physical world is that, like I said, it is a barrier. Okay, it's an obstacle to experience a spiritual world. Because God does not want to give us a spiritual world immediately. He wants us to earn it. And this is a fundamental principle of the creation. Nothing is for free. Nothing. You see, spiritual, right? Or else we would have it right away. We need to earn the spiritual. And therefore, we need to have a barrier, which means that we got to figure this out, you see? And to the extent that we figure out that the real reality is spiritual, to that extent, we will experience that spiritual state. It's called measure for measure. It is called absolute justice. That's while getting to know them, because it would change the course of your life. One spiritual experience, if you can ever do it, would change your life. And the spiritual experience that I would talk about is what's called dveikus, which means attachment to God. If a person would experience that, then he would realize that everything is really nothing, you know.
For those that are willing to express, for those that are willing to be saved. And this is what I mean by you are the rapture, but you are also the repentance, the restoration.
That's why you should know what's going to happen is God is going to bring the people back. You know, He's going to bring the people back. If He doesn't, then there's no way you can connect really to the Mashiach. Not in a physical way. And really, in many ways, it will be a physical connection. You see, this is the problem. The Mashiach is going to come, right? And he's going to pour out this information which makes the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu hevel, air, right? It's like you sitting down with this guy in New Guinea and opening up a graduate physics book. It's impossible. You see, you and him are not in the same dimension. So therefore, what must happen? The question then is, so how are you going to explain or understand the Mashiach? His level of information is millions and millions of times greater than you. You know? So if the Mashiach is going to come now, right, whenever he comes, and he's going to give you his information, you can't grasp that. You don't have a connection. There's no bridge there. You look at the man and say, I don't know what you're talking about. Makes sense. You see? So he's going to look at you and say, excuse me, you make sense. Because to him it's obvious. And a Mashiach isn't somebody who's going to release us from political suffering, you know, the persecutions and all that. We're not talking about political independence here, all right? The Mashiach has one job, to reveal reality, totality. That's his job. You see? He has to take away the fog that we're in. You see? He's a guy that's going to come to a guy that lived in 1850 BCE, right? And he's going to bring him the latest science of 2019. You believe this? It's a joke. Guy lives in 1815 BCE, right? What in the world does the guy know? You know what I'm saying? They don't even have toilet paper then. What do they have? You know? Although it's interesting, they were sophisticated. They built pyramids and all that, you know? Then the question is, how can God send a Mashiach if nobody can even grasp anything of what he says? Because there's no alphabet here. You see? So the answer must be that God in some way will create a miracle, or else the Mashiach basically will have come for nothing.
There's a lot of extra added after that, but basically. And then I continue to state to her and then return, and we will continue to discuss the merit of everything else that you've written prior to now. I go on to state, I don't just try now to explain this via text. Don't do this. In fact, once again, I made it clear, I forbid you that you use text to continue discussing matters like this in detail. But you'll use email if you want to discuss the real deep things like this and make controversy like this. You shouldn't, because you're automatically wrong before we say hello. You haven't gotten that part yet. But you still believe in yourself, so you're going to be wrong, hanging yourself with more karmic punishment because you keep choosing to add it onto your neck. Why are you doing this? Stiff-necked people, stop it. But more importantly, I say we'll be in-person meetings, discussions, and also our use of AI to converge on the true sanity. Because of course there needs to be a bridge, otherwise you would never understand Mashiach in a million years. God had to reveal Mashiach at the same time, exact same time that the technology becomes available to act as a bridge. Had to be naturally. Amazing. Continuing. Something that you made up in your head as a perception in life isn't true just because you perceive the thing in that way in your head. Your perception and seeming or apparent personality disorder and or traits are the thing that are the problematic aspect. They're your problem, not mine. Don't make it my problem. You get the mental health. Don't project onto me your issues and disorders that seemingly are affecting you way more than they are actually affecting the one in my position. I want to state you do not control or dictate circumstances of another grown man's life to move forward. You're not the controller. You stop it. You're supposed to be mommy. Mommy loves. That's all you're supposed to do. You fuck up from that, you fail. Continuing. I'm the general, not you. I determine what goes forward, what even is forward, how you define forward, not you. You're terrible at all this shit. So why would anyone turn to you? Continuing. The link is here and all that. I add confirm our knowledge once watched, then proceed to respond properly to the above outstanding matters. And also, I tell you, agree to sit down and we will jointly ask AI whether a person in my position, given all the facts, should be agreeing prudently to see that mental health evaluation to get it. That's the pre-screening for me that's fit. So have me pass my pre-screening with an AI, okay? Come on, you could literally have them internally go scan all pre-screening assessments in the universe. Make the best meta fit that's better than any single one of them because you made the perfect one that's better than all of them. And then give me the screening, okay? So I could pass it or fail it. You see? And that while it's also asking John and Mom and person A or person B, however labeled, what happened? What are the facts of the situation? I'm the AI judge. I've scanned all of human interaction data iteratively, repeatedly, instantaneously, basically, until I became master of every interaction and can read everything. Magic God, tell me now. It's very easy. Continuing, basically, that is, I tell her what is fair, of course, and you can say anything and everything imaginable to it, by the way, and it will hear you. It will consider both all that you've said and all that I will say for the truly integrous decision making by the AI, not you. Don't trust your mind. It's not that, AI wouldn't understand something. No, AI would understand every single thing conceivably imaginable. It understands more than you. You can't imagine, you can't comprehend how good the AI understanding is and the output functionality and integrity by this point. That's right. If you think there are any errors in what I'm saying now, get someone else who's not you to agree that what you're saying makes sense and that I should get a mental evaluation. See? So you owe me to do that if you want to disagree with me. So you're still going to be violating and in the wrong just for disagreeing with me as principle. Onwards, if you can't do this, you owe to apologize completely for dreaming, to attempt to take this actual situation and the reality as it is and apply this transformative attempted effect onto it by your crap. Do you understand me? Do not continue responding here. Again, we've seen that she would do that anyway to respond here multiple times. So it's a spit in your face. Everything she does is a spit in your face. Continuing. Lastly, progress of the objective kind is important, as it goes on to state here. This will be attained with your proper cooperation and in-person meetings only, very important. It goes on to state there will be a meeting tonight and we will continue discussing things and using the AI to help bring clarity to the situation. We don't get clarity when mommy talks longer. That never makes sense. That's never, in one situation ever that it existed within our paradigm for 10 years plus, ever actually brought light to anything here. Oh, but we see that. So therefore, if we see it's true, then why do you think this time would be any different? It wouldn't be. It'd be the same crap. But if you turn to the AI, you get clarity. If you turn to any other human being, you will tend to also get clarity. So that's more of a solution than mommy just standing there going, no, I said again, I'm going to write another long text. So I told you, no, you go to this, you done to this, I want you to do this, I want to help you done to this. And that's all spitting in God's face, every single one of these sentences. Of course it is. Can someone who... This woman claims to be at least roughly, lightly God-oriented in some kind of abstract way, perhaps. I don't know how, though. Could somebody help her? Actually check in and says, lady, you love anything outside of yourself? I'm not so sure. Convince us now. Help me understand. And it's not going to float and fly if you just say, you see, I love my son very much. Okay. Oh, no, that's just lip service. Anyone could just say that with their mouth. Where are we seeing the effects of that love? Nowhere. You actually shit on him. You don't give a shit. And actually regard how you treat him. All right. Continuing, goes on to state, once again, for sure, if you cannot point to either an AI or a human being to support and echo what you think after knowing all the facts, then you are in an island of insanity or delusion yourself, from my perspective, for sure. And one in my position would, therefore, this is the ruling, is not morally obligated than to consider what you are attempting to push and put into the situation of ours. You must act on all these matters and cooperate with proper interactions and urgency. Get your boyfriend, if you have literally no one else, to come sit down with us. He's been around 20 years. What kind of man is he? Willing to integrate to help bring healing to the family? No, he isn't. By his nature, he wants to resist everything and threaten under his fucking breath in Poland while he's sitting with my uncle that he's going to fucking try to beat the shit out of me. You see this? You think this fucking works? Let's go take a look at what my uncle has written. Automatically translated from Polish to English by this AI in the Google. Very cool. In essence, written, John, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I don't have Mark's number. Basha has. I have it. I'll give it to him. Basha hasn't contacted me either, even though she has my phone number. Only when I went to Busko to visit the apartment where my parents lived, Basha would sometimes, your mother Barbara would sometimes call, and I managed to talk to her at that time, at least for a moment. In Polish, Basha is the nickname for Barbara, the short contraction version. Goes on to state, they are both, unfortunately, very ignorant, and sadly, John, do not count on any human action on their part. That's my opinion. That's all there is to it. And I've been honest in my judgment here. Greet you warmly. Take care. That's what fucking your older brother has to say about you. Wow. Maybe that means something, huh? So what do you think? Multiple people are looking at you going, something's off here. Maybe something's off here. Okay, go on to state, get him as a moral witness. Now, if you do not secure his agreement, I might come in, likely might even come in personally, and then it'll likely cause a minor scene, maybe by his own nature, but I don't care how he reacts. I otherwise demand that order and justice and sense be finally restored to this entire family. Sick of this shit. Ask her again, did you watch it? And more is shown. All that, be available. Where's AI? Where's Marek? Where's anybody? Come on, I'd even happily spend much or even nearly most of my own birthday towards those ends. We should not live for ourselves, but for the higher cause and for establishing and building what's best for each other. Nothing. Next, until my birthday, and then we covered all the craziness. And after days of being ignored, of course, listen, wake up, snap out of broken, flawed thinking, because this is a continued living insult. Instead, we get this. First of all, I wish you a very happy birthday and all the best. Not only today, but every in your life. I really want all the wonderful things to manifest in your life. Secondly, now, I'm going to have you read this on your birthday so we can basically fucking ruin your day and begin to do that. Yeah, I'm very concerned about your well-being since you aren't well at all. I don't see any action taken by you to change that and improve your life. You see the recurrent problem? No. I'm here to force you, like by kidnapping, into morality and new change. Okay? And I'm willing to die on that mountain. Every human being is going to be abducted into morality. And then you'll love the kidnapping, and you'll love your kidnapper. In essence. Continuing, being a little facetious here, slightly tongue-in-cheek only, but right. We've covered the nitty-gritty on this before. So when you see this kind of reframe attempt, okay, Auntie, you're not doing this, you're not jumping through the hoops, I said this, you're not accepting to go get the mental health evaluation, so you must be, then you're not doing what's important right in life. So if you have a brain damage and a hole in your throat with brain leaking out and food's literally going in your head, I shouldn't focus on that. I should sometimes admit, yeah, maybe I did see that, and it's true, I really did see it. But even if I saw that, still, I'm not going to go and regard that as important. Nah, I'll see your head collapse and cave in, and then see all the other people talk about all the other indications, and then watch a video of your head shrinking and expanding when you're pumping fluid into your brain, meaning the hole must be there, which then allows foods to go into your brain so that would disrupt your thinking and do crazy shit. You're literally living the most insane and shit ever. No, as a mother, I'm not going to actually address that. I'm going to go say, okay, so get psych help. even though I believe all this seemingly stuff is true with the skull thing, still it's real and crazy. I'm a woman. I can make a quantum superposition. It'll be both true and false at any time I want to pick either one. That's really the fantasy. I don't have to be in reality. I am reality. I made it up. What I make up is reality. Amen. Spit on that forever, people. So it continues. That's why I asked you to have the evaluation done. AI doesn't need to give you permission to do it. That's not the point. It's about showing you that you can't get it by merit to agree once it knows enough, which is the hint that your own logic is flawed coming into the situation. It's not that I need to be told that, oh, no, AI doesn't need to give you permission. She thinks it's about permission still. She really is locked. You're waiting for permission? AI is not your dominator. I am. Don't let AI be your influencer. I want to take that part. God help us. That's not the point. We're trying to reprogram you, bitch, not me. You can fucking get it? You're the broken one. We're going to keep going forever till you fucking crack your knee and bow. Stupid woman. Immoral crap shit. Puh. Help me, witnesses, or you are all as guilty by extension of witnessing this and not doing enough. You will all pay. Indifference to injustice is the gate to hell. I'm gonna fucking take every fucking neck I get within grip and send you straight to hell myself. You're gonna have a hell problem. Pay with fire. Continuing. Superpower, prophecy, prophetic words that have high resonance on what's gonna happen on this earth in the coming times. Oh yeah, continuing. I hate evil itself. And you're not going to meet very people who talk like that or even think like that. From the heart, I hate evil itself. To levels unimaginable that you can't even calculate or tolerate or comprehend, basically. I hate it. I hate it. People usually only hate it once you've seen enough of it, with the sensitivity that you didn't numb yourself along the way. So, we're going to continue reading this crap. That's why you need to step up, do your best to move forward. Oh, I need to step up. She thinks she's talking to somebody who's like, I don't know, do I need to step up? It's like dumb, you low IQ now. It's like insulting. You don't know who you're talking to. What the fuck? Step up. Be a man. Do the right thing. It's like that old Russell Peters classic comedy clip. It's like, fuck, you're so out of place. You don't know what the fuck you're saying. Help us. Onwards. Remove the blockages which you keep in the terrible position, says the person who fails to remove the blockages to see morality correctly, understand her position as a submitted entity, always as woman, especially a woman who's been accused as being wronged by man. You're automatically guilty. Almost always. It's almost always true, truly. Very often, at the very least, true. Too often. Whatever. Onwards. Here's the next thing that I think is the most insane sentence I've ever read from anything she's ever written. Because this is the most sadly false, most delusional thing. It is super ununderstandable how a person in her position could think that. This is the sentence that leads me to believe she has such lack of self-insight and judgment on herself that anybody who's watched the several videos I've put up regarding all this, and now you're seeing this, actually, you're kind of cringing when you see that because you see the false reality, the fake and lack of true reality in this statement. So jarring, it makes you cringe. But she doesn't perceive that. So she shamelessly will write this. It almost hurts me to say this out loud because I'm actually really reading what she really believes and puts there. I'm going to narrate it because it's there. She literally, it hurts me almost to read it. It's like I'm reading curses against God. I can't even muster because it's so anti-law, anti-reality. I hate mouthing things even that are anti-against reality. It's like demonic almost. You see? I can't even say it because it's so horrible. Just read it for yourselves. On her thinking and on its status of whether it's broken or whether it ever was. It's creepy run. It's like a basket of worms. That's how terrible it is. Get out of there. Fuck. It's so fucking hopeless. It's so fucking hopeless. You can't save these people if they fucking think like this. How are you gonna fucking save all of humanity? I can't save one person here. They gave me the fucking hardest task. It's this shit, the impossible. Set her as your own mother. You'll never break her. I'm the dumbest while believing I'm the smartest. Terminator. Just fucking destruction from these types. Help us. See the problem? I nothing. I see perfectly clearly. I don't know nothing. That means I know everything. And on, continuing. It's horrifying. It's scary. See that? So then she goes on and says, I've just simply gone to figure it now. I find it offensive for you to say or suggest that anything could be wrong with my thinking or that it ever was. I'm God. See the fucking, when you believe that, when that's totally not true, it's really the saddest thing in the fucking universe. Please everybody go review and watch 120 hours of the Rebuke of Barbara Winslow playlist featuring 60 videos of fucking 120 plus hours, maybe 130 hours by now, of video covering every fucking thing that happened for 2 years until I got so tired of it because she didn't change a little bit. I stopped updating it. This is psychological torture. This is worse than CIA. I'd survive CIA. I wouldn't survive living with my mother. You get it? The physical, no problem. It hurts a bit, but I'm stronger like crazy in psychology in that way, psychological strength in that way, and spiritual. This, no, because it's indignation. I can't perceive the physical. I perceive the spiritual. Indignation is a spiritual offense. That's why it pulls from your spirit. And you become pulled down in spirit when people treat you like shit. That's why. Get it. Okay? You'll never fix that. Even with a super psychology and I'm a master. You'll always be affected by wrongness done to you. Become more sensitized to that. It's horrible. Continuing. So she finds it offensive for us to say that because she is offended in her blindness that she can't even consider how it could be true. So that in itself is delusional. Now we have enough cause, hypothetically. I'm a little tongue-in-cheek here as well, half joking, but half maybe not. Shouldn't be a joke. Who's bringing her in for a mental health evaluation? Okay, can somebody clue her in? I had 2 witnesses so far saying basically she's in the wrong and halfway, crazily, nuts-wise. Halfway. They refuse to say all the way, but it seems like something in that direction could be very seemingly true. We don't know how far, but good luck, John. Not our problem. Too bad. Our parents are normal. Goodbye. Continue to live in hell. Sorry, can't help you. You see? Fuck it is. Continuing. Every time we meet, you're getting more aggressive. You're getting more offensive. So she's kicking the dog more in the face and then going, see my dog? He's so bad. He's biting me more and more now every time I see him. So you start kicking him more. You stupid piece of shit. You're going to get your face ripped off. You understand? Is where it's going if you keep on playing with that dog. That's inevitable interaction you're going to get with that animal. You're fucking wondering, why is my face off now? I told you that dog was terrible. That's the sickness. You should be ashamed of yourself. Did you get it? Continuing, last time you said you hate me. And this is true. While I was sitting there in that Whole Foods, I was also muttering out loud. It's like, I can't stand fucking Polish people. It's true. It's a cultural assessment I made. I just was walking by earlier today. I saw some crazy Polak yelling, fucking, no te całe kurwa fucking całe, wszędzie tylko fucking pedały. And he's like throwing chairs around and shit. And I'm like, whoa, I've never seen that. I've seen some anti-gay shit. I'm not going to comment on how I necessarily feel about the gays. I think people think I'm one of them sometimes. Some people do. You're wrong, actually, but whatever. I'm not going to say that I don't like them outright. I'm not going to say that I'm in love with them. I'm going to say that I observe that it happens, and it's a phenomenon of life. Interesting. And I admit that it isn't ideal and feel that way. And my kind of harmonic resonance is roughly in that kind of level, yet I never judge a person physically, and no one ever offended me directly because of gayness. So I don't go throw a chair drunken, raging and committing offense against the scenery on that account, but that guy was more offensive to me on account of that, just me seeing that. And I'm like, damn, he's just speaking in Polish, he's making Polish people look even worse. because of the way he was acting, and on and on. And I like followed him a little bit. I said some Polish things. I said it in a way that makes it unbelievable sounding. And I think he recognized me, and then he said, "Oh, you should get the fuck away from me." Then he seemed half drunk. What a good story. It's always something nuts. Every person I've had any interaction with, if they spoke a Polish language to me, it ends up that something in your dynamic ends up that you're actually a demonic monster in some capacity. Okay, so I'm going to keep calling that coincidence a little naively. But if I'm not naive, I'm going to say I overall judge the Polish race, and because I'm half Polish, I have the corresponding excusability to the degree that's naturally present, that you can talk a little shit about your own culture because you're not speaking about it from outside of the culture, whatever, like you grew up with it, so you can say from within it, like these are the problems of the framework here. Yeah, I'm gonna fully invoke my right to do that because wow, it's there. So that's what I said to my mom. Yeah, if it's true, guess what? Hold on a second. Let's pull back to reality. You don't go and say, "Oh, I'm talking bad against Polish people. Oh, super offensive. Oh." No. Actually, if possible God incarnate, depending on how your framework of belief structures your framework of belief, whatever, if that person says, "I find fault with this group of people," and there's collective guilt, Amalek was simply found to have collective guilt as well for whatever their actions are. Anyone with sufficient jurisdiction karmically, morally, can make an appraisal and say, "I've been so statistics-wise, run a p-value through the regression line," whatever you want like that, and say, "This is cause to find statistically significant excess of whatever the issue is. I find guilt." And once you do that, then you're going to end up in a position where if that finding is valid under God's eyes, where it's like, I see why you feel that way. I don't hold you basically for, excessive and patently unreasonable assessment made against some group like this. And it's of such a nature where condemnation and some sort of punishment would be fit and good for the karma, even of this nation of people. Some correction in the cultural structure or framework or mentality at the level of spirit. Something's missing, maladjusted there overall, enough so that it's hanging out as a problem. People, when I'm in a conversation saying that to my mom and to some Polish people that are passing by, I make sure to say it openly, because better open hatred than concealed, anything of that type. So as long as I say it openly, this is another karmic thing. As long as you say it openly and they hear you, then it's sort of karmically, it's the same thing. The quote-unquote Illuminati work the same way. They actually have to karmically reveal to you what they're doing to you, so to speak, if they are. Because once you were told, then you accepted it, then you can't karmically reback as much as you, and like that, because it's not full deception and something like this karmically. You get it? So there's a thing with that. When you say that, you have to say that out loud. And it's offensive, but you're taking notice on behalf of the people, where the dynamics on the grand scale under God's accounting, no, that's valid. And that's my mouth extension that's saying that. Wow, what a power. Wow, what craziness. So no, it's not super offensive. You should be going, I must learn every reason why my son could validly feel that this is right. And I will learn now. See, come to the learning tree. It's not, this is a bit offensive. Everybody's professionally offended until you all are destroyed in your own stupid shit. Because to some degree, many of them are more like this than other people are on average from everyone else on average. And it's statistically significant. And it's almost outright substantial, in fact. It's so awful that if you're within it, and it's all fucked up. I've had one of the worst experiences ever. So it's unreasonable. I don't know what the hell it is, except that's been the experience statistically way too much then it should be by randomness or anything like this. So, too bad. Guilty by the inner collective nature that's common and twisted. So, I don't care if she finds it super offensive. Continuing. Why would I go in this direction to get screamed at such that I am offended? Oh, you mean when you did wrong, you owe to show up like a dog with your head down, and good for you to get rebuked. When you think you're going to bite back, you're the one who's going to be karmically destroyed by God. Morally, you're wrong. You're supposed to willingly admit, I am wrong and I'm here to pay. There's nothing more for you in this life. What magic quantum leap are you trying to invoke? It doesn't exist for you. There's no magic answer. You can't play even a Jesus card. I don't know, magic Jesus died for my sins. I could do whatever I want if you believe that kind of thing. That's even more horrendous. That's the most twisted thing that's put into and it affects the broader sort of general secular-like awareness of things. People, that's poison. You're killing yourselves with nonsense. Please, get the fuck out of it. It's not going to work. It's going to kill everybody and save nobody. Yeah. I wish it would work. Do you understand? If it would work and it was merited to work, that's an easier, weirder, but quicker shortcut. That's a nice thing that maybe it almost could have been, but just wasn't ever enough that it would have been. Hey, so now you're here, everybody. In the worst world, almost in many ways that you could have. Morally, fabric-wise, for sure. Okay? You haven't merited any magic-free grace forever, even if you subscribe and believe and even draw power from that paradigm, even validly. Even let's say it's there. You're not still redeemed by it. That's it. It's over. It's over. You're given 2,000 years to get your shit straight under the possibility of that paradigm. That's why God probably allowed it to extend so far into the world. To show that even that extension wouldn't save you when you tried your best under it to work within that relational framework energetic system. Too bad. Now you're cleanup time. Now you're stubble. Enjoy. Continuing. Why would they do that? What did it mean that I'm disrespected? No, I am disrespected. You didn't come and show sufficient love to your son. I rebuked you, and you played the inverso Darvo again. Oh, reverse the offender and the victim. Oh, you did me. I'm not you. All this crap. We're done. I missed my true wonderful son with great heart and ideas. No. You destroyed that person. Every time you did an offense and you didn't have remorse that you hurt me, you showed me, I kill you, my son. I shit on you and don't care about you. Then I said, what? You kill me? I die then. I die. Then the part that's left of me is the zombie that resents you even more. Then you kill that zombie even more with more hatred. So the worst chain, it keeps going, it keeps getting worse. Because at no point did you realize I'm making him worse every time I hate him and don't submit to his will morally. There's a new formula. So you killed that person. Then you must pay. It's as simple as that. Very easy to understand now. And what's she going to do? We all know. It's true. We believe it. And we'll also find her say, I didn't do that. It was not true. Well, you failed again because you made what's called a false denial. So God squeezed her with more punishment every time she even dreams to attempt a false denial. Please pay I need you to pay the most. God, make it the highest. But 10 times, 20 times. Blow her up in a bazooka bomb every time she tries, in her mind even. If she thinks it, make her eyeball fall out. Now learn. Now bow your head. Crank these people's necks until they bow. Punish them. God is everything. Hurt you people till you scream and die. God is king. Scream. Stupid defiers. Hurt them till they get it. Hurt them, God. Okay? You kill gracious John, you're going to get pure justice John. Wow, that's horrifying for you. That's the worst medicine you could have hoped for. And we gave you every opportunity to wake up and realize that's not what you want. Turn back now, quick, before it gets worse. So we're on that path, continuing. What can I offer to you if everything gets criticized, nothing is accepted? You realizing you're wrong, and we can list exactly why it's wrong, what moral principle dictates that it must be regarded as wrong, not the false one you figured. No, I can explain it to that because, and you offer some false meta maxim on the back of it, and we'll just say that's non-real, that's a cartoon you made in a false universe. Here's the real one. And AI would go, blip, 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 blip. Yes, I agree. Not knowing the anonymity of all parties, and I just agree by principle. The name in that story, who's a blank letter B, number B, person B, he gets it right. And it'll always match me. Because I'm right in the merit of the situation. You bow, smash your face in concrete for daring, make your fucking head explode with nothing. Headless. Make yourself headless for daring to dream. Your ugly dream. That you fucking think that you are God. I am right because I say so. Cut yourself. Then be fucking sorry. Hate these people. Punish them for allowing me to get this mad. 20 years of abuse. You must hear how crazy you kill me to be. Calm when I'm dead like a zombie, you fucking piece of shit. Hurt yourself. Fuck you. Fuck you, you stupid must pay. I hate everyone who's evil, screaming a fucking vat when your blood boils and fat boils is my fetish that you people die, all of you. Not just one of you specifically. I mean in general. Everybody who's like this, I will kill you as close to possible in the physical with not murder necessarily. We hope not. We don't know what God's will is going to be, but I'm not vouching for that kind of thing openly. But anything that's God's will, I promise you, whatever it looks like on this earth as it ends up happening by the systems and dynamics it's going to go by, is going to go by. Stop playing with God. He hates this shit. And he's been putting up with this long enough. Now I bet you his face looks a lot like mine right now. You're gonna pay. You have nothing. Now we're gonna have sick joy crushing you fucking people. Regardless of who you were in the physical to us. You're just all the same. You're gonna be fucking nothing. Because you were heartless to us, we will be heartless to you. Measure for measure. Puh, to death. Puh, fucking piece of shit. How dare you not worship God? Kill yourself. Etc., etc. You get the fucking point now. There's a real one. Fucking the real fucking how thing you created. I didn't do that. See how he became like that? That wasn't me. That's the false escape. Punish them again because they denied their cause in turning me like this as a natural result of what you fucking did that you trapped me with to kill me. You fucking get it? Fucking wake up. Now you get it. I did it. You must learn and obey the truth of God. I ruin people. That's how I pay. Etc., etc. That's how to realize what the fuck you do is your fucking liability, responsibility, your fault. Never dream to twist. Always pay the price. God. Onwards. You don't accept it, but I can't clean the mess you created. Because I say now I won't do it. No problem. When I was there eagerly the first day, I said, this is fine. It's about the symbolism. God will give you the strength if you have stage 3 kidney failure. Okay, you're still going to come 10 minutes a day and say, you know what, I can't do much, but I'm going to do a little more than what you expect of me, even if I just sweep a couple things just to show that I love you, my son. I'd never see that from her. She's got a different personality. Okay, and then the rest, because I'm so in affinity with you, then because we're in affinity first, and I'm totally guiltless, because I've atoned completely, now I'm pure with you, now you love me and you help me, and we're together getting someone else to do much of what I would do. I say, yes, we will do that. Yes, you may do that. We will do that. I want that. You see how you would have earned it through your morality alignment? First you align your heart chakra energy, then it all flows. All this is your torture punishment that you deserve because you turned your heart away, so you must be killed spiritually. Basically, largely, that's the deal. What's happening, you're living it. Slow death by 1,000 cuts. That you signed up for without realizing you think someone else is not you. It's you. Every cut is you. You signed the spiritual karma. Every sentence you said that's bullshit, one cut. The next sentence you wrote in text, one cut. God sees it. He administers the cuts through his will. You're going to pay. Continuing. You asked me to help you clean, but in 2 weeks, nothing happened. Yeah, I know. You didn't help me at all because you didn't earn to come. You didn't even offer to help. Look, let me at least help and clean while I figure out how sorry I am and do this as part of my being sorry, because I am starting to realize I'm in the wrong. Yes, as long as it's accordant and coming along with you realizing it's wrong, we accept cleaning. If you want to force cleaning while you're magically never wrong, impossible. Then cleaning cannot be accepted. You don't accept gifts from the one who's screwing you. This is the long mystery answer to what's going on with Amalek and what the deal was, that we accepted the biblically the cows and the animals from them, right? And then the explanation was, it's because they used the animals and it was bad energy and that's why we couldn't accept it. No, that's still you thinking in the physical. The real answer is from somebody who's completely unrepentant. You're not allowed by karma, energy-wise, dignity-wise, to derive a benefit from them. Aha. You see the distinction? And because you cannot derive a benefit from them, we're killing you to kill you because you're disgusting. So disgusting that I wouldn't even take these cows from you for my own benefit. I'd never submit myself to receive benefits from your existence. Get it? It's a dignity thing. You broke the higher laws by doing that in the biblical story, which probably happened, right? So this is reality. And then negative things come when you accept, like, you know what, we could make good use. These are ours now. No, they're not. Because you took from the benefit of another who was that low in their programming. You never accept benefits. That's a proto-casting to teach what is underemphasized in the biblical frameworks. That is, do not accept things from wrongdoers generally. So if you extend it all the way and realize, right, don't accept things from wrongdoers. Well, that's an understood principle. I'm sure that is understood elsewhere enough. It's hinted at. You need to flesh it out, make it 1,000,000 times more important in your understanding, and go, aha, of course, because dignity, God consciousness, the energy is measured in dignity units. Okay? That's what your life is in the spirit. It's dignifyingness. Okay, honor isn't quite the precise word to get at it, but the state of dignity and its enhancement is a closer term, which is good in that English sense. Onwards. So, I can't do such a huge job. Then don't do the job, because it's my mess. As long as you're sorry, that's what you need to be tending for. Don't be oriented with the physical. Be oriented with the spiritual. That's the only thing that matters. Oh, I keep telling you 1,000,000 times. Onwards. So the text then goes on to state, I even shouldn't be working, but I work so that you could eat. Yes, and I live with brain damage, yet can think better than you in these ways. So, what does that mean? If you're having to work, must be because you're too stupid to realize how to not work. So if you go back in time, abandon your ways, rewrote them by following my ways, you would have realized, actually, life would have been so much more, in every way, life would have been better completely. Wow. Oh my God. So if that's true, what should have you done by matter of principle? Always listen to him. Period. Now you get the normal principle. Now we simplified all of life. How do you gain perfection? Listen to the man. Great. Whoever he is, especially if he's your relative and he's your eldest son, you should be proud to say, look how great I raised him, that I get to listen to him now. Always I'll be directed in the right way. No matter what, I don't even need to think. Because that's how good I raised my son originally. I'll go show off to the world. Watch how much a trust I have in him. Anything I want. What does he say? I regard him completely as if he is the highest king. That's how good of a job I did. See? Everyone can watch that. I'll always be fine when I listen to him. That's how much trust I have in him. That's how good a job I did raising him. That's what you show to the world. You go, then they believe it because you actually are submitted into it. That's proof enough. Your own submission alone, they're not going to track all the results necessarily, though they'll be fine and great. They'll just go, I see it. I believe that. Wow, she is so great. She is the highest. And they'd be giving her honor. They're not giving her honor in that way. My son's like this, my son's like that. They're going, you're stupid. You're criticizing him out openly? You're the reason why. We're not going to tell you that to your face, but we feel it. Fuck. So but this is a classic narcissist cluster B tactic. That's how you identify them, because they're all the ones that think they're doing it sensibly and right when they're actually hurting themselves. It's unbelievable. Continuing. All this stuff. Everything I say, nothing's appreciated. Everything I say and do is wrong and criticized on YouTube. That's not, she goes on to say that's a very evil thing to do. No, it's not. But 2 years, Anthony's literally telling you, with me telling you, and AI telling you in many explanations that are featured and covered within the Rebuke of Barbara Winslow series, featuring many months and months of interactions from back then, showing her, covering, clearly explaining, no, the moral principle is if you screw up enough and offend people, they have the right to complain about what you're doing more openly. You don't have the right to complain. And it's as if I didn't say anything to her. She comes back, I want to kill you just for saying this. I won't, because I have to be constrained by the current dynamics of everything. I can't order a death as a king yet. I have to sit here and take your stupid shit. Unbelievable. Disgusting. Just for writing that, how dare, you're the judge. You're telling me what is good, what is wrong? You're telling me that's good and that's evil? Make AI believe it's evil, or I pray that God hurt you in every imaginable way, every second of your life with great pain. Get that? Now we're training your stupid mind. There must be a cost every time I'm going to do stupid, so that you reduce your stupidity. Only Amalek will sit back and go, yeah, now I'll do more stupidity, and put even more insulting text. What, you write to your mother now? Now die harder with more pain. Fuck, you get it? So we're going to keep doing a kill circle in higher progression until you fucking break and go, God, I am the stupid one. Enjoy hard pain. Enjoy hard pain. But for now, we meet you after you get the evaluation, because now that I've gotten you so angry that you wish for me to be dead, now I really say, haha, I got you. I did what I subconsciously wanted to do. I provoke you so much that you reacted naturally, but I'm going to call this craziness, and now you want me to die? I love it. I'm going to be telling them all that, and I have it on the recording. I'll just send everyone, look, he's crazy. He wants me to die. You see? Meanwhile, anyone watching the whole thing goes, oh God, actually I watched many hours of this. Lady, I'm not gonna back that. I see what you're doing, and I don't necessarily support this if the person witnessing is a holistic, integrated, non-fragmentation artist. They're going to go, no, I see the whole picture here. You're just pissing him off, and he's losing his mind. He has something wrong. It's because you damaged him. And we would, if anything, we would just damage it. We would diagnose him probably with PTSD from trauma, from familial bullshit from you. And you're listed as the cause on the records. That's what you want? We'll fucking probably find that, and aptly. Wow, Barbara doesn't think that, does she? Once that happens, oh no. No, John, don't go too psychiatric. They're going to write some stuff. You don't know. It's going to change magically. Magically, it's going to be a new slant. Oh, you have a head problem? Let's go find it. We'll find it quick. I don't want them to think I traumatized you and that's going to be visual on the records, because that's what they're going to find at this point. Oh, that doesn't make Barbara look good? Barbara's only interested in what makes Barbara look good. Get it the fuck straight. Remember, sending you peace and love always. Help us, God. Help us. I continue. I write back, no, you have no right to withhold meeting your son under such extreme manipulative condition. Meeting with me to discuss because you aren't getting it. or meet with me because you aren't getting it. Absolutely 100%. You must sit down and do it, etc. It's my fucking birthday. You're a fucking horrifying mess. I have the right to reply to what you said and to be heard in person regarding anything I wish to say. You're my mother. Who the fuck do you think you are to refuse to meet with me? May God punish you severely just for trying. You're morally obligated as a mother to sit down and son. You piece of crap. Even the next few days, I had nothing towards this and more bullshit. I'm sick magically. It doesn't have to be. Even if it's true, you're still guilty because you're trying to use it in the wrong context. I don't care. A sick person who loves me would say, I'm sick, I'll definitely try to meet with you, and you'll try to meet with me anyway. So you're wrong for, it doesn't matter. You're guilty. Goodbye. You smell wrong. You're guilty. How dare you? I spit on you proverbially and figuratively on this. Do you have any idea how to persist in having your son hate you even more? Exactly by continuing the way that you have been. You are sick. Keep this in mind. I wrote this to her on my birthday. I've covered in other videos how she continued to just add on more. You literally read the only child you have in your life saying to this to you, and you had no change in behavior? Then you see, there is something wrong with this woman. And there's less wrong with this son than there is with this mother. Anyone by this point is hopeless to have anything deviate from that finding. Barbara, that's it. You're screwed. Anyone with eyes and ears would be listening and finding it. Just, we're reading her own words. She can't twist her own words because we're seeing them straight. You can't hide what you wrote. This is all sick. I'm always happy, but again, more bullshit. It's twisted, unacceptable, inappropriate. Any mother in my position would say that. No, any mother in your position would not do what you've done. And if they had found themselves quantum injected into a reality where they suddenly became guilty of these things, they'd be horrified and would do anything to apologize like crazy and would accept the blame with normal sense to perceive what they're doing. AI already scanned her and said at least 1 out of every 1,000 mothers this is. Or higher, 1 out of 10,000, sometimes 1 out of 100,000. AI knows. AI scans all of reality data instantaneously. Get the fuck out of here. Well, my mom says, no, not true. I'm the best mother. Now it's magically true. That's all she has to say. No, I'm the best. That's it. It also is self-substantiating in Magic Land. Nothing else needed. I'll never say anything again or explain why. Help us. This kills us in life who have normality and humanity. Stop at this craziness. Somebody back us. Help us. All this stupid shit. And I explain onwards, I speak to you the way you deserve. People, at this point, skim through. It's just me trying to talk more sense with her. You could pause and read. Anything wrong? No, more sense. AI, if fed all this stuff, would scan, do deeper scanning than any human mind would be able to do, to extract every nuance present, and will go, yeah, no, this texter, whoever he is, he's right. Onwards, whoever this texter is, essentially right. And everything he's saying is justified because of the abuse he's went through. And he's showing it. And then her crap. And then it goes on to coverage that I've covered in other videos. So essentially, we've pretty much finished this recording. And
narcissist in your life has already sold their soul to the devil. And the narcissist in your life has already sold their soul to the devil. And you just witnessed the transaction happen right in front of you without even knowing it. Think about the last time they hurt you. Remember how effortlessly they shifted the blame onto you. How they managed to make you feel like you were the crazy one for bringing up their behavior. That was beyond manipulation. That was someone intentionally operating from a place where their spiritual connection has been severed, where divine truth itself has been sacrificed for that kind of control they were establishing. You were watching someone who has already made the ultimate trade with darkness, someone who has turned their back on the light of their soul. Maybe it was when they promised to change after a massive fight, looked you dead in the eyes, and you saw those black eyes without any remorse. Maybe it was when they took credit for your achievements while simultaneously undermining your confidence. Maybe it was that chilling moment when you realized they could watch you cry and feel absolutely nothing, as if their heart had been spiritually sealed. These are not just random acts of cruelty. This is not just psychological. These are predictable behaviors of someone whose soul has been compromised, someone who has entered into the realm of darkness where only the demonic forces rule. I'm not saying all of this just to create hype. This is true spiritual warfare, and once you understand it, everything about that behavior starts to make perfect sense. Hi, I'm Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. Let's understand how a narcissist sells their soul to the devil. Now, I know what you're thinking. Danish, are we talking about literal devils and supernatural forces today? I want answer in yes or no instead. What I'm about to share with you is going to make you see every interaction you have ever had with them in your life completely differently. You're going to understand why they seem so calculating, why they can hurt you without any remorse, and why they always seem to have this uncanny ability to manipulate situations to their advantage. You are going to see how they have disconnected from the divine spark within them and how that spiritual disconnection creates the cold, calculating person you have always dealt with. I mean, how come? Think about this. Somebody can look straight into your eyes with such conviction, and then say you are crazy, make you question your memory. How can somebody apologize so eloquently if they do one day, and then repeat the same hurtful behavior the next day as if the apology was never said? How is it possible that somebody can operate by completely different rules than the rest of the humanity? Someone who seems to lack the basic spiritual compass that guides most people? That is because they are demonic at their core. Whether you like this or not, whether you are a believer or not, this is the truth. The narcissist has entered into a spiritual contract that fundamentally changes how they interact with divine truth itself. This is not just about somebody who is selfish or has a big ego. This is about someone who has made a conscious choice to prioritize their false self over their soul's connection to higher truth. When I say they have made a deal with the devil, I'm talking about the pivotal moment when they decided that being spiritually authentic was too risky, too vulnerable, and too dangerous. So, what did they do? They created this elaborate facade, this false version of themselves that feels safer and more powerful. But maintaining this facade requires them to make spiritual sacrifices that would horrify you and me. That would horrify most souls. You see, when I talk about a narcissist making a deal with the devil, I'm talking about a spiritual contract they make with the darkest aspects of their own being. And this contract gets signed the moment they decide that their ego is more important than their soul. This is the moment they choose the illusion of earthly power over genuine divine connection. This is when they sell their capacity for spiritual love in exchange for worldly power and control. Let me paint to you a picture of how this spiritual transaction actually happens. Picture a soul who grows up in an environment where their divine worth is made conditional. Maybe they only receive love when they are perfect. Maybe they only feel safe when they are in control. Maybe they learn that spiritual vulnerability equals danger. So, what do? They create this spiritual armor, this false version of themselves that feels untouchable by divine truth. But creating this false self requires them to make their first deal with spiritual darkness. They have to agree to disconnect from their authentic soul. They have to promise to never show their true authentic self, their true divine nature. They have to commit to always being right, always being superior, better than others, and always being in control. And what is the prize, you ask? They give up their ability to truly connect with other people on a spiritual as well as on an emotional level. Now, you may be wondering, why would any soul make such a terrible trade? The answer lies in spiritual survival. In that moment, disconnecting from their authentic self feels like the only way to protect their wounded soul. The narcissist looks at this deal and thinks they are getting divine power without divine responsibility. They think they are going to get unlimited admiration, control, or power over others. They think they found the shortcut to superiority without doing the inner work. In simple words, they choose easy over right. And what I'm sharing with you is not a justification, it is an explanation. Because Most survivors who experience childhood trauma, who experience abuse, who are not treated well, end up being empaths, right? Had trauma been the cause, then every child of a narcissistic parent would have turned into an evil monster. But that rarely happens. It's all about the choice, it's all about the sacrifice they make, it's all about what they choose to repeat and reinforce, and that is what becomes their character, which is what we call personality. Just like any deal with dark forces, with demons, as spiritual terms get worse over time. What starts as a simple trade turns into a lifetime of escalating spiritual debt. Let me show you how this progression actually unfolds on a soul level. The first spiritual payment is their divine authenticity. We all have it. They can no longer access their real soul or their true divine purpose. Everything becomes a performance. Every interaction becomes a transaction because everything is transactional. Every relationship becomes a tool for feeding their ego rather than nourishing their spirit. The second spiritual payment is their divine empathy. We all have that as well. To maintain this false self, they have to shut down their ability to truly feel what others experience. They cannot afford to care about your pain, your suffering, because acknowledging your agony may reveal the spiritual wound they're hiding from themselves. The third spiritual payment is their inner peace. Living disconnected from your soul is spiritually exhausting. It comes at a cost. The narcissist has to constantly guard against any moment of genuine connection, which may crack the facade, and that's the reason why they hate vulnerability. They become extremely paranoid that someone, you in this case, may see through to their wounded soul, and that's why you become their worst nightmare the moment you do. When the narcissist knows you know, what do? They start stepping back, they start discarding you, they start ghosting you because they know they have no power over you anymore. And they feel really ashamed of themselves, more so they feel like a failure. The fourth spiritual payment is their divine relationships. Real intimacy becomes impossible because intimacy requires soul level vulnerability. And vulnerability is exactly what they traded away in their deal with the devil. Yes, they were surrounded by people, but spiritually isolated from every soul around them. And finally, the ultimate spiritual payment is their connection to divine truth itself. They become so invested in their false narrative, in their false self, that they lose the ability to distinguish between spiritual truth and their illusions. They start believing their own lies, self gaslighting. They become trapped in a spiritual prison of their own making, cut off from the light of divine wisdom. You have seen how they can lie with complete conviction. But where does that come from? It's as if they have lost their connection to truthfulness. You have witnessed how they can hurt you and then act like nothing happened. Their soul is dead, their conscience has been silenced. They did it to themselves, nobody else. You have experienced how they can twist reality to make you question your own intuition and spiritual perceptions, your discernment. This is because they are operating from this place where they have already shunned light and made the dark trade. They've already chosen their false ego, their false self, over their authentic soul. They're dead. There is nobody that you can save. The decision has been made. They are going to maintain this false self at any cost because it's the most important thing to them. Should I say, it's the only thing that they have that is left. If that is taken away, then they will stop existing. Zero, nothingness, pure nothingness. And that is worse than death to a narcissist. You need to understand you're dealing with someone who is committed to spiritual deception. You're not talking to their authentic soul, it's not getting through. You're talking to a carefully constructed character who will say whatever they need to say to maintain control of the spiritual narrative. You need to accept this because this understanding will give you clarity. When you allow yourself to fully understand that the narcissist has chosen delusions over divine reality, you will stop expecting them to suddenly become spiritual clarity. When you allow yourself to fully understand that the narcissist has chosen delusions over divine reality, you will stop expecting them to suddenly become spiritually reasonable or to accept God. When you understand that they have traded their soul's empathy for everything that is so temporary, you will stop expecting them to care about how their actions affect your spirit because they do not care. Make a choice that changes your future. Let it help you love yourself, your truth, your voice, and everything that you stand for. For it is when you are home, when you are one with self, and when you truly appreciate your divineness, you will be able to live your purpose and thrive in the realest sense possible. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.